This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Bless up, the Monty Show. How the heck are you, friends? Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Good to see you. Way off. It's the Monty Show on Wednesday, January 4th, 2023, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, without a doubt, the Advocates. And why is that? Because they don't ask you to pay them a penny until they win your case. Chat with a lawyer online, live right now at theadvocates.com. The Utah Jazz lose again at the buzzer, and the interesting thing about it is everybody was up in arms. They thought that, that was in. Clearly not. The Jazz have lost 5 straight. Do they need to make significant changes? Should the Utah Jazz trade Mike Conley, or should they let him play out his contract here in Utah? We'll talk a lot of Jazz today. Why does Lendale White have something to say about the Utah Utes? He does, sort of, in a roundabout way. It's National Spaghetti Day.
Yeah.
And there are some people in this world
Spaghetti
who don't like pasta sauce and would rather have butter on their pasta. It's not good, my friends. Good morning to all of you. Good to be here with you today. Good. Do we have to talk Jazz?
Do we really?
Can we talk? How about the Bulls? How about the Chicago Bulls? Can we talk about the Chicago Bulls getting screwed out of a playoff spot by Donovan Mitchell's fake 71 points?
Fake 71.
We'll talk about the last 2-minute report coming up. But yes, indeed, we do have to talk Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show because the Jazz lose last night. And I wouldn't call it a heartbreaker, but they do lose with less than a second to go. De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings gets a layup. Lauri Markkanen throws in a prayer after the buzzer had sounded. So the Jazz lose. And it's another one of these games where the Jazz are going to lose it by a bucket. And a lot of people will tell you that, they didn't do this or they didn't do, there was this one play. I got news for you. The Jazz are losing because of the Utah Jazz. Period. End of story. Their inability to take care of the basketball, their inability to make the extra pass is killing them right now. This has nothing to do with tanking. It has nothing to do with an under-talented or, lack of talent on the roster. It's very simply put, they're not executing right now, Jake, and frankly, it's very difficult to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation where they're not taking care of the basketball. That is the core of their issue. And I just said to myself like 50 times last night, like, how are you not valuing possession of the basketball? Like, wasn't the whole point of signing Mike Conley and keeping Mike Conley and not including him in the in the offseason trades? Wasn't the point of that to make it so that he could lead this group and value the ball and like do all that good veteran stuff? I'm not seeing that right now out of Mike. With all due respect, like Mike Conley's not making this team that much better. He's not making this team better to a point where I have to say, no, we can't trade him or there's no way that we would ever let Mike Conley go, right? Like, I see this team just not valuing possession. I see them committing silly turnovers. And some of that, maybe half of it is, hey, they're a young team. That's going to happen. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. But there's this other portion, at least a quarter of last night's game, was them just not playing well, them not playing up to their potential. And seemingly I feel like I always bring up those first 13 games where you went 10-3 and you took the league by storm and everyone's like, this is a playoff team. And the frustrating thing is like, that was their best. Think about it. Ever since then, what have we talked about on the show? That they haven't been that same team. And so now we're sitting here and they've had a couple of buzzer beaters. They got Tyler Hero. Now, last night, De'Aaron Fox, comes through and gets that layup real late there. Like, To me, you're not losing because of these buzzer beaters. You're losing because you're not putting teams away in the middle of the fourth quarter. And so you're allowing them to have that opportunity. And that's the hard part. They, like the Kings and the Heat, should not have been there. They shouldn't have been there. It should have been 5, 6, 7-point victories. Because if you remember, 3 minutes left in this game last night, you were up 7. That game should be over. Like, no questions asked. That should have been a victory. So that's why I say half of this is, hey, they're a young team and they're going to turn the ball over. But there is a good portion of these losses that is them just not playing good basketball.
Well, and I would go right to the extra pass. I think that has been a critical failure for this Utah Jazz team. And I know that Will Hardy pounds it into their head every day. I don't understand why you're not seeing that. And I think one of the things you are seeing is that Lauri Markkanen is a really good player. I mean, he is a really, really good player who can't seem to get the ball because there's a lot of selfish basketball going on. And if you'll make that one play, and if you'll rotate the ball, if you'll drive and kick, if you'll run actual offense with a purpose, and what I mean by that is if the Utah Jazz will run a play to get a corner three, which means, hey, we're going to rotate this ball to the elbow, we're going to drive, and we're going to kick diagonally to the corner. That's what that whole play's, end result is designed to be, is break the paint from the elbow, corner three. That is a staple of NBA offense in today's league, and the Jazz don't do it.
Well, what do you always say? I feel like every time we talk about Jazz, you always say, hey, this team has to have 25 assists tonight to win.
Yes.
Last night they had 21. They fell short of that goal. And I think, to your point, like whether we're talking about Lauri or whether we're talking about just general offense, they're not moving the ball. They are falling victim to the same thing that prior Jazz teams have, which is, hey, we're going to play a little pick and roll, we're going to break the paint, and then we're not going to make the pass. Like, is that not what we've been talking about for 2 years?
Yeah, and it's really disappointing. And I think when you look at some of the numbers in the box last night, the two guys who really stand out to me, Rudy Gay is giving you absolutely nothing off the bench, and Kelly Olynyk is in a bad way right now. And this is the conversation that it seems like it always morphs into with mediocre, lower table teams. And that is that you're starting guys that shouldn't be playing starters minutes. And when you play Kelly Olynyk starters minutes, he gets exposed.
Because it's garbage.
He's just not good enough to be starting. This is the Jordan Clarkson argument that we've had. And I understand that Jordan Clarkson has a lot of passionate fans, and there are a lot of people who think we don't like Jordan Clarkson. I love Jordan Clarkson as the sixth man of the year coming off of your bench. But Jordan Clarkson gets exposed when you play him 30 minutes, 35 minutes as a starter.
Last night.
When he plays 35 minutes as a starter, he's going to get exposed. And he actually played well. He was 5 of 10 from 3, gives you 24 points. Like, he contributed. But we need a guy in this Jazz starting lineup that's going to make the extra pass as well as knock down the three, as well as get into the lane. That's not who Jordan Clarkson is. Jordan Clarkson, and I love Bowler, and I love Big T, and they can keep talking about flame on with Jordan Clarkson. I don't need flame on with Jordan Clarkson. What I need is good team basketball. That's how this team makes the playoffs. And maybe, and this is something we can talk about, Jake, maybe this team doesn't want to make the playoffs. Maybe that's part of this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that I'm never the guy that's going to tell you that certainly players go out there not wanting to make it. I think these guys work their ass off every night, but I do think that, for the front office, for like Will Hardy, like I don't think they would be heartbroken not to make the playoffs. Honestly, like I just don't think they would. I think that that's never been the goal of this season. Like, think about it again. And I know you did this yesterday, but I feel like we got to do it every time we talk about the Jazz right now. Remember the expectation at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying 10-win team VW, right? Like, let's not forget that. So when we're here right now talking about, hey, does this team want to make the playoffs or not? Well, yeah, sure, I guess. But make the playoffs to what end? Because you're not going to the NBA Finals this year. So what good is it, right? The true goal of this team is to develop talent, which is why David Fizdale is here, which everyone seems to forget about. Right? Everyone seems to forget about that they brought in David to develop this talent. And that's why I'm saying, like, whether we're talking injury bug with Colin Sexton, whether we're talking about the fact that it's not just the young guys who drive into the paint and turn it over, like they're going in a bad way right now, which is why you see 5 losses in a row. But I'm telling you, like, I'm waiting for, maybe it happens against the Rockets. Like maybe that's what we get. Maybe there's some sort of a reset that happens where we stop not passing out.
I don't know that it's a reset. I think there's a couple of things that are really hurting the Jazz right now. I mean, the elephant in the room is they're not playing a high IQ caliber of basketball. I mean, you're making a lot of dumb mistakes, and there are veterans on this team that are making dumb mistakes. Jordan Clarkson's got to stop getting himself into positions where there's no positive that's going to come from driving into the paint and getting in the air and not being able to shoot. With all due respect to Rudy Gay, who used to be a consummate professional.
And with all due respect,
I just don't know that the guy can play anymore.
Yeah.
If we're being totally honest, Rudy Gay probably should not be playing minutes right now. And it's tough to watch. I would rather really struggle with one of the younger guys, and this is the Ochai Agbaji conversation. I'd rather struggle with Ochai Agbaji, frankly, than with Rudy Gay.
Right.
And I know they play 2 different positions, but give me 5 guys that need the minutes to show us what they can do, because I know who Rudy Gay is. I know who that dude is. And he's not a guy that I think you can have on a young developing roster. Rudy Gay needs to be on Golden State or Boston or one of the elite teams in this league that needs 10 minutes from a guy to get a good rebound and make an extra pass. That's who Rudy Gay is right now. The bottom line on this team is that you're not making the little plays, and so these mistakes you make become much larger.
Yeah.
The other truth about this team that you have to know is they're just not good defensively at times. They go through quarter and a half, full halves where they just don't play good defense.
Facts.
And the other issue is a guy like De'Aaron Fox is going to dominate this team, as we saw last night, because they can't keep guys in front of them. They're not good defensively. That's the bottom line here. So if you're not going to be good defensively, you better not have the extra turnover. You better not have, and I want to say that the Sacramento Kings had 27 points off of turnovers last night, which is a huge number. The Jazz had 16 turnovers. The Kings converted that into 27 points. Flip that around. The Kings had 18 turnovers, and the Jazz converted that into 6 points. Like, that's not good.
You lose by 2 points.
It's not good. And their defense, including transition defense, has been bad. But you expect that from a roster that looks like this. I don't expect this team to win 50 games. And there were so many people that were so high. Again, remember what we've said about this team. This is an 8, 9, 10 team. This is a fringe NBA playoff team. I expect them to be bad defensively. I do not expect them to play stupid basketball.
Exactly.
And they're playing selfish, stupid basketball.
Yeah.
And it's just not good enough. And the hard part is that we have these conversations on what seems like a regular basis, and I don't know how you fix it. Because they're very likely there is no fix for what's on this Utah Jazz basketball team.
Yeah, and maybe fixes, like, I struggle, or I always find myself vacillating between.
That means going back and forth.
Yeah, motion offense. No, I always find myself going back and forth between, do they need a fix, or do they need, what do they need? What is this team like? What do they need to start playing better basketball? Because earlier in the season, it was, well, it's just kind of a bad stretch. That's a bad stretch. Every team goes through it, right? But now I'm starting to wonder, like, maybe they do need, that influx of talent at the deadline. Maybe they do need, like, some sort of new blood on this roster to kind of get them, to kind of snap them back into shape, because it seemed like early in the year they were playing that good brand of basketball. You were still losing, right? You were still doing some losing, but you were making the extra pass. You were really fighting these good teams kind of to the end. And now it's like, hey, we're getting lit up by good teams, and we're struggling to beat bad teams.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Yep, Utah Jazz Talk on the Monty Show, presented by Quack Car Wash.
Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you the secret to impressing my neighbors, the wife, coworkers, you name it. I just swing by Quack. It seriously takes 2 minutes, and people won't stop checking me out. Getting a clean car is definitely my best life hack. Kids are messy, camping's dirty, but my truck sure isn't.
That's my dude, man.
Yeah, man.
People can't stop and won't stop checking me out, bro.
Well,
Quick Quack Car Wash, I love them, and especially in the wintertime here with snow, salt everywhere on the roads. You know, we're getting another major storm coming up on Friday.
what a winter.
Yeah, what a winter. You better have a membership at Quick Quack Car Wash. I do. I pay $22 a month, $21.99.
That's right, T.
I can go as many times as I want. Once or 10 times, it just doesn't matter.
Yep.
I pay the same amount of money, and I get great service. I get a great car wash at Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Let's get your thoughts in here about the Jazz. One thing I want to ask you in the comments section, let's get rolling on should the Utah Jazz trade Mike Conley? Because there have been reports, and there's not a real good grasp amongst the NBA sources that I talk to about whether or not the Jazz want to trade Mike Conley. I don't think there's any doubt that the Jazz do not want to, but I think they need to. And I think it's going to take a pretty significant offer at the deadline. I don't think Mike Conley's a January trade guy, right? Like I just don't think that's the case. When I look at Mike Conley, that's a guy who serves dual value here. He's still a really good player on the floor. As a starter, you can't have him starting on a championship caliber team.
Right.
But he certainly is your first guard off the bench on a really good basketball team. For the Jazz, he's your starting point guard. He brings you some you know, what's the right word? Presence, if you will, on the floor. He brings you a calming influence. He's mentoring guys. He has a lot of value to this team. But he's going to be a free agent. His contract, in my opinion, is not one that you're going to renew. Why would you hang on to him? This is, and it's not dissimilar from Jordan Clarkson.
Right.
Jordan Clarkson wants to be a free agent, or he wants to be paid $20 million a year.
Yeah.
I tell you, trade Jordan Clarkson, because that money doesn't make a lot of sense. So just kind of mix that into your comments this morning as we talk Utah Jazz basketball. They lose last night. They've lost 5 straight now. I think this is who they are. They lose 117-115 to Sacramento. What do you see? What do you think ails this team? Is this who you thought they were? Let's get your comments going with MY Monty fan. How the heck are you? I missed you yesterday, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Morning, fellas. Halfway through the, quote, best of show, and it's awesome. Looking forward to another great year listening to the show. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. We've had a really great end to the year on the program. I said, bro. Anyway, thank you, Coach. We had a really good start to the year as well on the program. 9,000 subs. We're at 9,100 subscribers already. Please, right now, if you're sitting here, all 61 of you, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're not, please consider subscribing. Kurt Myers, good morning to you. Steven Lopez says, good morning from East Texas. What's up? Good to see you, Steve. Edgar Garcia says, good morning, players. Hello, Edgar. Good to see you. I don't know that the Jazz need to make significant changes. This is who they were meant to be. The lack of experience, mistakes makes it hard to close out games. Yes, it does. Anybody see Scoot Henderson's healthy again for the G League Ignite? I'm telling you, that's my dude. That's my number one pick. He is, in my opinion, he's got tremendous, tremendous upside, and he's ready to play in this league right now. Scoot Henderson's balling.
Yeah.
If I'm the Utah Jazz, that's the guy I want. With all due respect to Victor Wambin Volkswagen.
Yeah, VW.
That's with all due respect. Funky Orient says, I thought Laurie's shot at the buzzer counted. No. I don't even think it was close. And I see there's a couple of comments about this. That shot, if you go back and watch the replay, it's clearly on his hand when the buzzer goes.
Is this the dagger?
When the light comes on, which is the measuring stick in the NBA for good or not good, when the light comes on, that ball is still on his hand, unfortunately. Tremendous shot. And you texting me while I was laying in bed without any socks on last night, and you just text me, Laurie! all capital letters. Did you fix your phone? Because I noticed that your caps were locked on.
Dude, I was stoked. I was pumped. De'Aaron hit that layup, and then Laurie makes that shot. And live, it looked good. I thought he made it live, but then on replay, it's clear he did not.
Yeah, I didn't think it was ever good. Dwayne Boone. Hello, Dwayne. Tim Bruckmiller, good morning to you. Kendall says, watching the game last night, the Jazz seemed to be out of control on many of their possessions, poor shots and turnovers.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what here? You know what, Kendall? I think this is a really good point. poor shots. Yeah. Shot selection. And I'm not saying that the Jazz are stupid. Jordan Clarkson's stupid. I'm not saying that.
Right.
The basketball IQ is not high on this team. Because, and again, I'll just be redundant and say the extra pass is what's killing this team.
Well, I just think it's the little things like the extra pass, like not turning it over in the paint, like, you know.
The extra pass gets you a better shot.
Right.
So you're not trying to play hero ball. The extra pass usually will avoid the turnover. Whether the shot goes in or not, it almost doesn't matter. The extra pass will avoid the pass out of bounds or the turnover in the paint. Like, that extra pass requires some mental fortitude, because your instinct, if you're Jordan Clarkson, is to flame on, bro.
Right.
Your instinct is to shoot as much as you can, and I'm telling you, you can't do it. You cannot do it. You can't. Brett Robbins says, might be on a 5-game losing streak, but barely losing. It's the Jazz own fault for losing, missing 10 free throws a game. Amen to that. And way too many turnovers. They need to get Markkanen more in the post in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
But you guys see what we're edging at here. It's not that, hey, man, you're just not good at basketball. Well, the issue is you're not making the extra pass, you're turning the ball over, and you're not making free throws.
Yeah.
I don't care if you shoot last night 29% from three. You're going to have those nights. But if you're not going to make your free throws, and if you're going to turn the ball over, and if they're going to get 20 more points off of turnovers than you are, you're going to lose that game every night. And when you lose by a bucket, when you lose by 2 points, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Just make the one extra pass 2-3 times a game. Make an extra pass. You're going to win the game.
Yep.
Eliminate one stupid turnover. You're going to win the game. Make instead of missing 50%, make 60% of your free throws.
Yes.
Make an extra 2-3 free throws a game. You're going to win the game.
Yep.
That's what is so frustrating. Ryan says, can we talk about the guy controlling the game clock, not giving them a favorable home court advantage?
Everyone was talking about this, and Lori commented on it and said it should have been 0.6 instead of 0.4.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you, great, talk about the clock, but why don't we talk about what we've been talking about this morning? Like, if I was in that reporter room, I would have asked Lori, hey, I know you feel like you should have got 2 more tenths out of that clock, but do you think that if maybe there were a couple less turnovers here or maybe a little bit better there, like, do you think that maybe that would have affected the result?
The truth of the matter is, if you had 0.6 of a second, you're not throwing the ball to Lauri Markkanen. Somebody's going to dribble with 0.6 of a second. With 4 tenths on the clock, it's that play. It is lob it, hope for the best. It's Christian Laettner at Duke, right? With 0.6 of a second, my guess is somebody would have inbounded it and heaved it from half court. That's my guess. So candies and nuts. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle, but she doesn't, so she's not.
Right.
Like the clock guy is not why you're losing these games. Although I agree with you, it should have been 0.6. I think I want to say Holly Rose said that there should have been an adjustment there. I want to say. Mark Barrington, what's up, fellas? Hope the new year is treating you both well. It is. Thank you. Yeah. Richard McDonald says, bring back Donovan. Well, they're bringing him back on Tuesday.
Yeah. And we're taking Austin Napierski.
So, by the way, we're going to that Cavs game with Austin Napierski and his friend. By the way, did you guys see that Donnie scored 71 the other night?
Here we go.
Donovan Mitchell puts up 71. First of all, can we talk about the last 2-minute report?
Yeah.
Why does the NBA release the last 2-minute report? So if you didn't see that game and you're not a long-suffering, bowel-pressured Chicago Bulls fan such as myself.
Right.
I'm watching that game. Donnie misses a free throw on purpose. And absolutely it was a lane violation. Like, your mom knew it was a lane violation and she never watches the NBA.
Right.
They didn't call it. He makes the bucket. They go to overtime. They released the last 2-minute report yesterday that said, well, that should have been a lane violation, which means the Bulls should have won the game. Donnie should have had 56, and we all go on about our business.
So get your facts straight.
The refs blew the call. So what does this mean now? Okay, well, what this means is it takes away from Don's 71-point performance, right? What it means is the Bulls should have won the game. They'd be in a playoff position. They lost the game because of that. They're outside the playoffs in the East. And here's what's going to happen. The Bulls will make the playoffs. They'll miss home court advantage by, let's say, half a game.
You are what you are.
One half of a game. They will go to 7 games. They will lose that 7th game on the road and be eliminated from the playoffs. They will have won all of their home games. They will lose on the road. The Bulls will miss the playoffs, and Jerry Krause is dead, but he's still fat.
Infowars.com.
That's the bottom line. That's what will happen because that's who we are as the Chicago Bulls.
You see the conspiracy happening right now?
That's who we are, man. That is who we are.
You are what you are.
Do you like the 2-minute report thing?
I would like it more if we find officials, if we held officials accountable. And I get it, it's a fast game, but you're paid to do a job, right? It just is what it is. That's how life works. Hey, the guy building a skyscraper gets paid a bunch of money because his job is dangerous, right? Like, refs get paid a bunch of money because the game is fast and difficult to officiate, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be held accountable. That's what I don't like. Cool. Release the 2-minute report and tell us that Donnie shouldn't have had 71. But what about, hey, the official who missed the lane violation? Yeah, he's going to get a fine for that, or he's going to get this, whatever it is. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we love to find players and coaches and anybody who talks about officials, but we don't want to hold officials accountable, right? Like, the league doesn't want to do that, and I have a problem with that because, yeah, well, most of the time it's Draymond, it's Rudy Gobert, it's all these guys just complaining and constantly riding the official, even though the official's right. There are times like this situation where the official's wrong and they need to be held accountable.
If you're going to release that last 2-minute report, change the result. That's the bottom line. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know because, frankly, to be really honest with you, that 71-point performance was special. Like, that was a virtuoso performance from Don. Like, that was one of the best performances I have ever seen.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
Granted, I was flipping back and forth because of the Rose Bowl, but it was one of the best performances I have ever seen. And I'm a diehard Chicago Bulls fan, and I wasn't even mad at you, Don, because it was just amazing to watch.
I'm for real.
He was locked.
I'm for real.
And it turns out he should have finished with 56, not have the LeBron record, not have scored 71, and the Bulls should have won the game and still be in a playoff spot.
He should have finished with 56.
He should have. That's the reality. If he does, because again, I'm not kidding. He intentionally missed that free throw.
Right.
And scored the bucket to tie the game. If it was a lane violation, he shouldn't have been able to score the bucket. The game should have ended. And Donnie should have had 56 points. That's what he had. He should have finished with 56. He should have never gone to overtime and lit Chicago on fire and finished with 71. And now he did, but now we all question it.
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
And by the way, as a side note, did you notice that, and I think it's hysterical, Robin Lopez tweeted, the greatness of the game is that Donovan Mitchell and I combined for 72 points. Donnie had 71 of those 72. And Don quote tweeted that and said, yeah, now we're getting drug tested because the NBA randomly drug tested Donnie and the Cavs the next day after he scored 71.
I doubt that.
How good is that, dude?
Come on, dude.
He scores 71. He scores 71, and the NBA randomly drug tests him. I'm going to go ahead and say that's not so randomly drug testing him.
Come on, dude.
Right?
Come
like,
on.
what are we doing, man? Like, that's not random.
No.
That's not
It
random
is
at all.
not.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Brett Robbins, good morning to you, sir, says, we blaming losses on the clock guy now, LOL.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
come on.
It's not the clock guy. Boyd Lake, how the heck are you, friend? Mark Barrington says, should the Jazz trade Conley? 2 months ago, I would have said no, but I would trade Conley now. Can get a veteran help in the offseason to support the bench next season for free agency. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't know why we're married to Mike Conley. I don't know, like...
Why are you married to anybody on this roster?
Yeah, like, I would be pretty committed to Laurie and Colin, but I wouldn't be ultra committed to Jordan Clarkson or Mike Conley. I wouldn't be committed to some... average guy or below average guy in Rudy Gay, like any of these veteran guys, I wouldn't be committed to them. Like, you're just not in that place right now. It's not as though you're Memphis or you're some like top contending team where you really got to, think twice about trading one of these guys. Like, no, that's not where you are. And that's okay. It's okay. But what's not okay is to be a bad team, but also be married to these guys, and they're $20 million a year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And look, I really like Mike. Again, I want to make this really clear because please don't hit me on Twitter and be like,
you hate Mike Conley. You said you hate him. He sucks.
Hey, man, you're a dick because you hate Mike Conley. It's not what I said. What I said was you shouldn't be married to anybody on this team, right? You shouldn't be.
No.
Well, and Mike, I think Mike has value around this league to teams like the Lakers. And if I can send Mike Conley to the Phoenix Suns, if I can send Mike Conley to the New York Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets, I'm doing that. I'm absolutely doing that because I know that I am not going to contend. Arguably, I'm not going to be a playoff team if you're the Utah Jazz. I'm not certainly contending for a championship. And Mike is a hell of a nice guy. He deserves a shot at a ring.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
Yeah, and if for no other reason, just to get Mike Conley a shot at a championship ring, in my opinion, is why you trade that guy.
Come on, let's go.
Because I think he just deserves a little better than playing out the string in Utah and then being like an 11th guy on somebody's bench next year.
Yeah, I think he deserves that. I think Jordan Clarkson deserves that.
Yes.
And they should handle it properly.
Yeah, it's not that Mike's some bad guy or can't play. He can play. He can play. And, I think one of the things, I think Phoenix is one of the best fits for Mike Conley because what does he do? If he's in Phoenix right now, what does Mike Conley provide for them? They got humiliated the other day. Trucked, bro. Like, not even, it's not even close.
Yeah.
On Monday, I want to say they lost by 30 points, 102 to 83.
It's ridiculous.
To the New York Knicks.
It's really despicable.
And if you look at Chris Paul, he plays 30 minutes, 4 of 11, 1 of 3 from 3, 11 points. And their guard off the bench, and with all due respect to Dwayne Washington Jr.
Dwayne Washington Jr.
And obviously Cam Payne's a guy that they have a lot of respect for there.
Right.
Those two guys combined for 18 points in 30 minutes.
Because it's garbage.
Mike Conley's a huge upgrade to their bench.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense, and we've talked about this on the show before, the trade that we reported that now everybody's confirmed.
Right.
That the Jazz, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Phoenix Suns were engaged in trade talks where the Jazz had ended up with John Collins and probably Dario Saric to make the money work. The Jazz end up with John Collins. The Suns would have ended up with Mike Conley and Jared Vanderbilt. And it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And what you also recognize pretty quickly is that the Suns would have sent Jay Crowder to Atlanta, so they fix a problem, the Jazz fix a problem, the Suns fix a problem, Atlanta fixes a problem.
Right.
And the Jazz couldn't get a first-round pick out of that deal. So they turned it down, which they should have, frankly. It makes a lot of sense. When you're solving other teams' issues, John Collins is an issue for Atlanta. Jay Crowder's an issue for Phoenix. I'm telling you, it makes a lot of sense to make that trade. And it didn't happen. But I think Mike Conley, I also think Malik Beasley's another guy that when you look around the NBA and you look at these teams and you look at the teams that Malik Beasley's truly a fit for, any of those top 5 teams in the West, dude, I am convinced. Again, Phoenix is a great fit for Malik Beasley.
Well, Malik's helped himself a lot, I feel like, the last couple of weeks, showing off the paint game that he has, showing off the layup package.
Yes.
Like he at the start of the season, he was just kind of a 3-point guy, but I feel like now he's sort of developed and graduated into a nice little 2-guard.
And pretty clearly, one of the teams interested in Malik Beasley is the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Malik Beasley would be a really nice upgrade for them. One, I don't know that you can trust Tim Hardaway Jr. He is that guy.
Don't know that you can trust him. The guy's never there when they need him.
Can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to upgrade that. And I think Malik's mid-range game has really come along. I think there's a lot of reason to like Malik Beasley. But anyway, here nor there. There's deals out there for Danny to make, and he is one of the most active guys. Again, I hear it all the time. Danny Ainge and the Jazz are going to be incredibly active in January. I'm waiting for them to start pulling the trigger on some deals.
Bojan.
Because I think, and I always say this, and a lot of people don't believe me, I'm telling you now that the month of January, let's put it this way. The next 4 calendar weeks, could be one of the most significant month in the history of Utah sports. I think that much could happen here. With the trade deadline coming, when you look at what's going on at places like BYU and Utah, you look around the landscape, the transformations that could happen in the state of Utah sports-wise in the next 4 calendar weeks, I think really could be significant.
Here's what's going to happen, Tonto.
And then the All-Star game comes up in middle of February. Like, dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The next 4 weeks could be massive.
Yeah.
Really massive. Neville93, good morning to you. Jesus Christ defends Marxism. Says campaign reminds me of Colin Sexton.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what basketball you're watching.
Yeah,
but,
I totally disagree with
I don't
that.
think that they play anywhere near the same game.
Yeah, totally disagree with that. Brett Robbins says the Mavericks have no assets we would want for Beasley. Well, the issue is that I think when you're asking for what Danny usually asks for in trades, I think you're almost always going to have to do a 3-team deal when you're dealing lesser assets.
You know.
I think that's why, again, the Phoenix, Utah, Atlanta trade makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting to see how all that plays out. I'm really curious if Atlanta trades Trey Young. I think that's a big, big question mark.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think Atlanta has the option to burn that thing down. I mean, once you trade a guy on Trey Young's level, you're talking about, foundational, like organization shaking moves. I think that that's always an option for them, but I don't think they necessarily want to do that. I think they'd really like if.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, what do you mean you don't know about that? Like who?
I think Atlanta realizes what Trey Young is. I mean, you're not picking the one mistake I think a lot of people make in this Atlanta Hawks situation is it's like, well, they're going to pick Trey Young over Nate McMillan. You're not picking one or the other. Coaches come and coaches go. The question is, are you married to Trey Young? And the answer is no, the Atlanta Hawks are not. I've heard it repeatedly from NBA sources that I trust. They are going to trade Trey Young, and I think they'll do it in the summer. It doesn't make sense to trade a superstar like that at the deadline, especially not where Atlanta is. And with DeJounte Murray there now, like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like the John Collins deal makes a heck of a lot of sense for Atlanta. Trading Trey Young is a summer deal.
Right.
But I don't think they're married to Trey Young in Atlanta anymore. Not from what I've been told. I think there's a real good chance. This is his last season in the ATL. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think he's taken them to where they thought he could go. I don't think that he's carried them. I think that he's gotten now multiple coaches looking for a way out. I think his teammates are a little burned out on Trey's drama because there does seem to be a lot of drama around Trey Young.
Fucking A.
And I could see them trading Trey Young in the summer. I don't have any doubt about that. So I don't think you're picking between Trey Young and Nate McMillan. I don't think NBA franchises operate like that anymore. I think that coaches come and go.
Right.
The question is this the guy that can take you to a championship? In Atlanta, I think they recognize that Trey Young cannot. And I wonder about the Zion Williamson injury. Again, if you guys didn't see, Zion Williamson has a hamstring injury now that's going to keep him out 2 to 3 weeks.
Fat.
How does this team do without Zion Williamson? And how important is he? And I guess the grander question is, can Zion Williamson carry you to a championship? Because I don't think he can. I think he has to go through the Giannis evolution. And that is he has to become something other than a wrecking ball.
Right.
He has to have a mid-range game. He has to have something on the order of the ability to shoot from distance. You don't have to make him at a high level. Giannis showed us that. But you have to show that you need to be respected because that creates so much space behind your defender.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that's what the Utah Jazz struggled with last year. That's what a lot of teams struggle with in the league. Like anytime, and it's like what we see in the NFL all the time, right? Like anytime that you can not worry about somebody on the other team. as a defender, you're in a good place because now you can play defense on like 3 guys at once. That's the issue. And Zion is somebody that it's like what D'Lo said. He's out here playing football and we're playing basketball, and that's Zion's game, and that's fine. That's cool. But when we're talking about championships, every championship level player has had to go through a transformation of some kind where, like for Zion, like he was just saying, he's going to have to pick up that jumper. Like he's going to have to find a way to create more space for himself. Because at some point, like if Zion was to run into, some physical ass team in the playoffs, like a Giannis caliber physical player, that's not like he's not going to just beat the Bucks on his own, let's say, or he's not just going to be able to beat, Steven Adams or Jonas Valanciunas on his own. When you've got a great rim protector like that, those guys are happy to play the punch each other in the face game in the NBA. Like they're happy to do that. So that's why I say, Zion, I still believe, and I'm not even hating on the guy, I still think he needs to trim down more, even just a little bit, lose 7 to 10 more pounds, like get closer to being more balanced, because now we've seen he can play. I don't know how many games he's played so far already, but like he played a decent amount of games here before getting hurt again, and it's just going to be a matter of can he ever play 60 games? Can you ever play 60 games? Because if he can play 60, I think he can get by in the league, but like 40 and 50 is just not going to be enough.
Well, and I think the other thing in New Orleans is you got to get B.I. healthy. I mean, if Brandon Ingram's not healthy, they're not going anywhere anyway.
Dude, his game is crazy similar to Kobe's game. Like the overlays that people are doing of like the baseline fade and like the same moves. Now, I'm not saying that B.I. is Kobe or like that, that he's got that killer mentality the way Kobe did or anything like that. I'm just simply saying their body movements are eerily similar.
I just think the issue with Brandon Ingram, by the way, is a toe injury, and it's slow to recover. Like that's a tough injury. He's trying to get back, but he's a guy that's always hurt. I'm not a guy that's a believer in Zion Williamson. The issue, like, look at Atlanta, the perfect issue. Atlanta is paying Trey Young. I think he's got $215 million left.
Jeez.
They're paying him $38 million a year on average.
Yeah.
And that is not like, I mean, that's the nice thing about John Collins. He's only got, $100 million left on that deal.
Only $100 million.
Right. But he's a young player, $100 million. And the other thing you got to remember is the cap's going to keep growing. The money's going to keep growing. $100 million with John Collins is not the end of the world. It just isn't. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what all of that looks like at the end of it. But we'll see. Can we take a sack of basketballs and a flat diet Pepsi for Rudy at this point? Seriously, just buy him out. He's such a bad emotional influence to our players out there. Rudy Gay is
struggling.
He's broke, dude. Like I don't know how you fix that. Rudy Gay is broke right now. I totally agree. It's just yeah. Salty Drunk says, "Did you see the might of OKC blow out Boston?" Well, what do you mean the might of OKC? I mean that team is, in my opinion, OKC, who scored 150 on Boston, by the way. OKC is, in my opinion, as good as their health and their top end allows them to be. Like guys like a guy like Lou Dort, it's, in my opinion, again, on a good team, he's a bench player. In OKC, he's starting. This is clearly an odd night.
Yeah. Clearly
an odd night. When do the Boston Celtics play that many guys? When you're playing 18 guys. 18 guys. And I don't mean like small minutes. Like, I mean, you're playing Pritchard 15 minutes. Hauser got 23 minutes. Sam Hauser got 23 minutes last night in that game. Like, I mean, you're playing Blake Griffin last night, for crying out loud.
Yeah, with all due respect.
You're playing Blake Griffin last night.
All due respect.
By the way, Blake Griffin played 12 points and gave you, or 12 minutes and gave you 0 points. 0 points. Jason Tatum plays 30 minutes, 27. Jalen plays 25 and gives you 29. They got nothing else. Like, this is an off night for Boston. It was an off night for Boston.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not play in that game. So, Yeah, it's a fluky game. I mean, OKC is what they are. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a team. What are they now? 5 under, 16-21. I mean, that's an odd win.
You know what they are, man.
Yeah, that's an odd win for me. Let's go. Joni Blue says refs are terrible this season. Jazz should have won that one. It has stop. Has nothing to do with the officiating.
Excuses?
Nothing to do with the officiating. Doesn't matter. Sean Corden, good morning to you, or Carden, excuse me. When Agbaji, Vando, Kessler were on the floor in the second, the defense looked good. Offense, on the other hand. Well, and this is the Ochai Agbaji problem. And I want to say Will Hardy said after the game he's got to get him more minutes because they need his athleticism.
Yeah.
He's got to knock down the jumper in the NBA to play. And we've seen it with our own two eyes in the G League. Here at the Maverick Center, the SLC Stars play at the Maverick Center. He plays a lot of games for the Stars.
Same dimensions on the floor. The hoop's not any farther away, my man.
And he can't make it at the NBA level for whatever reason right now, and he's a hell of a young kid. There's a long way to go with Agbaji. And you see things like, and a lot of people want to compare Agbaji to Jared Butler. Jared Butler just never had the goods.
Yeah.
He never looked like an NBA player. Ochai Agbaji looks like a guy who can play in the NBA. He's got to get the nerves out and knock down that jumper.
Yeah, and he can play some defense too, by the way.
He's got a great body. He has got a great body. He is a really good body. I think it is. I think it'll be interesting to see. And you know, I'm one of the guys that has no life and watches a ton of NBA.
He's a bum.
I think he's a guy that needs to be on a team like the Jazz. And again, here's the tipping point question about the Jazz.
Yeah.
Do you just suck it up and play him 20 minutes a night? Do you suck it up and play Nickeil Alexander-Walker 20 minutes a night?
Well, if you're not, what's the point?
I think that's a really important situation that they're in because Nickeil Alexander-Walker has shown you flashes.
Played 15 minutes last night.
But
NAW.
Yeah, but did he deserve more minutes?
Minus 13.
Did he deserve more minutes? I think I could make the argument he doesn't deserve more minutes last night. Ochai Agbaji plays a few minutes.
7.
And doesn't really, but is 7 minutes a measuring stick of Ochai Agbaji's ability? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But we know who Jared Vanderbilt is right now. I don't know who Ochai Agbaji is. I don't know what his upside is. Frankly, this is what we've talked about with Walker Kessler repeatedly. I want to see Walker Kessler's top end in a Jazz uniform. I want to see him be the best player he can be, wearing the note on his chest, blocking 7 shots a game. That's what I want to see. And we're seeing that because he's playing heavy minutes. That putback dunk last night was unbelievable.
Yep.
Right? So you're seeing Walker Kessler develop. I'm curious what it will take to get Ochai and to get Butler to develop. I'm really curious about that. And I don't know that they do, by the way. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't see it. Maybe they're package players. I don't know.
No, I think Agbaji has the goods. I think he needs more time. I think that Agbaji is someone who plays a lot of different roles in the G League. Like, you know, we've watched him, like he was saying, and there he'll play 10 minutes where he's the guy. He'll play another 10 where he's not the guy, and he's kind of the guy that's chilling in the corner waiting for the ball. And then he'll play another 10 minutes where he's ball handling and he's coming off the screen and he, like, you know what I mean? So like it's an interesting conundrum. And I think when you're a G League guy and you're going up and down and up and down and you're playing with different groups of players, the NBA is faster, number one. And then number two, it's a totally different environment. Like a lot of these G League games are played with, well, not a lot. Like all of them are played with a significantly smaller crowd. It's a different environment. It's a different feel.
It's 5,000 people.
It's 5,000 instead of 20,000. Like it's a different environment. So,
but you would think with Agbaji playing at Kansas, you would think that that's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the sole reason he's struggling from 3 right now is because of the crowd, but what I am saying is that he's a human being.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that there are certain challenges and adjustments. And yeah, it needs to be said. When he's getting 7 minutes, I don't think that's a great measuring stick to what he can bring. Like,
well, I think all of us that have played ball at a high level and all of us that have had the ball in your hands in leverage situations, you understand that you squeeze that ball a little tighter. You understand that you push that ball a little more because you're gripping. You know you need to make a 3.
yeah.
The beauty of a guy like Lauri Markkanen is he's not gripping at all. The 0.4 of a second shot's the same as the second quarter, 5 minutes to go jump shot.
Right.
Doesn't matter to him, right? That's the difference. So you've got to, but to get to that point, you've got to play him more minutes. And to get to football at 50, you got to be 10 to the hour every hour, where we bring you the biggest stories in college and professional football. We'll get back to the NBA and the Jazz next hour, coming up here in about 10 minutes. Football 50 presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you download the app, Papa Murphy's Pizza mobile app. I'm telling you, man, had leftover meatballs for lunch yesterday. Oh, my God.
Day 2 meatballs are bomb.
I'm telling you now, if you are not getting the marinara meatballs at Papa Murphy's, you're missing out. I'm telling you now, they're so good. Order it up on the Papa Murphy's app. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Little breaking news out of Ute Country, and I think this is a big one. And it's difficult because I think this is a really awful timing for Cam Rising to have reportedly torn his ACL, and there is big concern about the structural integrity of his knee beyond the ACL. There's concerns that he has either other ligament damage or big cartilage damage. Any way you slice it, Cam Rising's going to have knee surgery on what is reportedly a torn ACL for the Utes starting quarterback. And this means it's a probably a 12-month recovery to him being at any semblance of who he's been at his best. And you now start to understand that Cam Rising, he's got to come back. I can't see a situation where Cam Rising with a torn ACL has reconstructive knee surgery and then goes into the NFL draft where he won't be able to work out at the combine, where he won't be able to do individual workouts on pro day at Utah, where he will not be available in training camp for an NFL club. Why would you draft him?
Right.
Cam Rising's got to come back to Utah now, and I think it creates a little bit of awkwardness for this offense because, again, I don't necessarily believe it's the best thing to have Cam Rising come back for the Utes, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. I think that he doesn't have a choice now. He has to come back, and this is kind of what we got to yesterday a little bit with, the quarterback conversation, the lack of offense, and, just the whole Kyle Whittingham, philosophy thing. This plays right into it, and that's what I was saying yesterday, and I still believe it. I think Kyle Whittingham is married to Cam Rising as long as he's, got the U on his helmet, and I think that it just is what it is, man. That's the reality.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So the sources told us yesterday, and not one, multiple people confirmed to us that Cam Rising has a torn ACL, and there is significant concern for related damage to that. That probably... Because when you have a torn ACL, and we see this all the time. One, the injury was non-contact. And I went back and watched a lot of replays of that collision that Cam had. It was not the hit he took where he tore the ACL. He tripped on his heel and kind of pushed off. And I think that's probably where he tore the ACL. And then the hit with 3 Penn State Nittany Lions on top of him didn't help. But when you have a torn ACL, okay, that is an 8 to 10 month recovery, fine. But there are clear symptoms. There are clear issues with that knee that make them believe there is a larger structural issue, and they won't know it until they get in there. And you just feel terrible for Cam Rising because he's worked really hard. He's been a really important figure to this football team and the growth and this run to the Rose Bowl 2 years in a row now. And he probably is going to lose a year of eligibility over it. That's because he's not getting younger, he's getting older.
Yep.
So a tough situation for the Utes and Cam Rising. And then there is this question of Jim Harbaugh and the Carolina Panthers, as well as the Denver Broncos, and according to ESPN, several other NFC teams interested in hiring Jim Harbaugh to be the next head coach of their NFL football team.
Right.
Do you like Jim Harbaugh to the Carolina Panthers?
I guess no, but I don't hate it either. It just is average. It just is yeah, okay, cool. Yep. Matt Rule didn't get it done. Time to move on to Jim Harbaugh, right? You're not learning your lesson here. You're not learning that most college coaches are not going to get the job done in the NFL. And so it's okay. All right, cool. Let's give Jim the benefit of the doubt. He had success in San Francisco. Like, obviously, they did some things there, but you can't sit here and tell me that this guy is going to somehow turn into a winner when he's never won anything. That's my problem. In Carolina, you need someone who knows how to develop talent and then take that developed talent to the promised land. And I don't believe that Jim is that guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we've talked a lot about Jim Harbaugh on this show. Having covered him in San Francisco, I can tell you there's a real steep burnout factor with Jim Harbaugh. And the bigger issue in Carolina specifically is the players really like Steve Wilkes. He has turned that team around. The culture rapidly improved under Steve Wilkes, and they're vying for a playoff spot. Like they're battling, they're fighting, they're coming together. Sam Darnold is giving them a great performance at quarterback. And now your season's going to end, and David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, has already talked to Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And the season's not even over, and the owner's already talking to a guy that he might want to replace you with. It's just a bad look for the Panthers. And by the way, the other thing that's a little confusing about this is Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, said he will not hire another college coach. So the first guy you call is Jim Harbaugh?
But I think, again, Jim is...
Jimmy!
The Harbinator has NFL experience, and that's what separates him. Yeah, and that's how I think you could sell him to the owner.
I would agree with that. A couple of thoughts here. Richard McDonald says Cam is not an NFL quarterback. I think Cam Rising is a pretty phenomenal backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think there are guys like Chase Daniel comes to mind who make a nice living being a backup quarterback in the NFL. I think Cam Rising absolutely has the arm talent to play in the NFL, and you just hate it for the kid he's going to have to go through this surgery, and it's tough. I've covered ACL tears for many, many years, and yes, the recovery has gotten shorter, but man, I'm telling you now, you are not the same for 12 months. It is a year recovery. Look at Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. wants to play in the NFL this year, and they can't sign him because it's been just about a year now since he tore his ACL, and he's not ready to go.
Yeah.
Because it's a 12-month injury. With the way these guys are built, the speed, the torque, the turf, frankly, the turf that all these teams play on, these non-contact ACL tears and knee injuries that you're seeing, it's not as easy to come back from those as you would think it would be with the advancement of medical technology because of the way the game is played. That's the hard part. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Cam Rising. Football 50, 10 of the hour, every hour, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your chicken garlic pizza.
Papa Murphy's presents How to Change the Way You Pizza. Step 1, carefully knead dough. Step 2, artfully spread sauce. Step 3, add fresh mozzarella and assemble toppings. Step 4, realize we already did all that for you, so all you have to do is bake it. Right now, get the chicken garlic pizza with chicken, Roma tomatoes, and creamy garlic sauce for just $9.99. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.
Yep, use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase at $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. My friends, get the meatballs. It is, man, it's heaven. And I'm telling you, hey, chicken garlic, wonderful. I'm telling you, traditional crust, double barbecue sauce, and then put whatever you want on it. Because the barbecue sauce on the pizza today, changer. By the way, today is National Spaghetti Day. You can get that at Papa Murphy's, but today is National Spaghetti Day, and this guy doesn't like pasta sauce.
National butter noodle with garlic salt day.
Hey bro, can we put some ranch dressing on that spaghetti?
Yeah, can I get a chicken burrito with sketty in it?
Get out of here. Fat. Get out of here. Salty Drunk says Jingle's back in 10 months, but he's tough. He's also a basketball player.
Yeah, it's different.
You can't compare basketball ACL to football ACL. Salty is a little salty this morning. He says, never ear, folks. Monty has a medical degree. What do you mean ear?
It's not rocket science, dude.
See, and it's guys like Salty Drunk who get upset that we won't laud praise on Joe Ingles or who are the other Aussies in the league?
Well, no, he's all pissed that we've been talking about Donovan Mitchell lately. And it's like, dude, just put up 71 points. Like, we're going to talk about it. Like if you're tired of talking about Donovan Mitchell, I'm not really sure why you're a basketball fan. Like I don't get
Why
it.
wouldn't we be talking about Donovan Mitchell?
I don't understand as a Jazz. Like I don't. If a Jazz fan said to me, "Oh well, Don's on another team, so we're not paying attention to him anymore," that's just not true. You can't tell me that Jazz fans don't pay attention, dude. We know you pay attention.
Yeah, I don't.
By the way, we could go and talk about. You want to talk about Rudy? You're telling me you're not paying attention to what Rudy's not doing in Minnesota? Come on,
I don't
guy.
understand the.
Come
Yeah,
on,
it's
guy.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. Keith Carl says morning casuals and resident ghost. Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, where's the ghost at today in the comments?
I don't know, man. Where's the Monty Show ghost? Exactly right. Pied Piper says, have you guys heard anything about the Fano-Funk family situation? Seems like Funk is bringing drama to BYU. Yeah, I don't generally comment on that stuff, but there is some. Look, the Fanos are at Utah now, as they told us on the show last week. It's over. You got to move on. Here on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at The Advocates. You can find them online, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Boy, how nice was it to get on dry roads this morning driving to work.
Finally.
Not have to worry about snow or ice or rain but I'm telling you, this time of year, there's a lot more accidents, and they're serious accidents. If you've been in an accident and you're relying on your insurance company to help you, you're making a bad decision. If you're sitting here right now listening to the show, you're like, dude, yeah, I got in an accident. I wonder if I should hire an attorney. Yes! Get to theadvocates.com. I'm telling you, don't trust your insurance company to bail you out, because that's not what they're there for. The insurance company is there to take your money every month, and then when you actually need insurance, they're going to pay you as little as they have to pay you. The Advocates are going to fight to get you every dollar and dime that you're entitled to. They're not going to charge you a consultation fee. They're not going to charge you a retainer. In fact, did you know that you do not pay the Advocates a penny until they win your case? Chat with an attorney live online right now at theadvocates.com. Good morning, everybody. We appreciate you being here on the show. Please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Trying to get to 10,000 subs as fast as we can. Have we decided what the giveaway at 10,000 will be?
Not quite. We're working on it.
You going to make some bowls for these guys? Like some meatballs?
Some meatballs.
Hey, by the way, and you know what conversation this is going to breed?
Uh-oh.
Mega Millions is at $940 million today.
Yeah.
Right? The Mega Millions is at $940 million. That's a lot of money, dude.
A lot of bread, dude.
That is a lot of bread. That'd buy you
a lot.
First thing you're buying with $940 million.
A house?
Nah, I'm going around the world. I'm out. I am going to take a 6-month global tour.
There you go.
Although I'm not going to get into why I don't want to travel the world right now. But yes, I would probably upgrade my garage. I'd probably buy multiple properties. But $940 million is absolutely the Mega Millions jackpot. Drawing goes off on Friday. I'm kind of curious to see how many people are gonna play that. I think you should absolutely play it because I think it's amazing. All right, let's talk a little NBA hoop on the Monty Show, because here's an interesting question for you. There's been a pretty good change of fortune in the NBA. I don't know how many people. Again, I'm a nerd. I watch a lot of NBA.
Nerd.
Have you guys been paying attention to the NBA standings? Because if you look at the standings in the NBA right now, there are some pretty good stories in the NBA. Look at the Western Conference standings right here. If you look at these standings, look who's on top. Denver, Memphis, New Orleans. Look who's on bottom here. Lakers, Timberwolves, Jazz, Warriors, Suns. All teams that have been pushing the top of the table for the last 5 years.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Sacramento is in the 5 spot. All of a sudden, Denver's got the best record again in the Western Conference. Can the NBA thrive when the table looks like this?
No, probably. The tough part is you're never gonna beat, like from a marketing, standpoint. You're never gonna beat when the Lakers are leading the Western Conference and they're really good and it's LA and you're not gonna beat that. That's the trouble. So with all due respect to Ja Morant or, any of these other smaller markets, that's the challenge. You're in Memphis, with all due respect. It's not Los Angeles. It's not Boston. It's not, San Francisco with the Splash Brothers. Like,
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just an inherent challenge. And so is the NBA struggling? No. Is the NBA doing as well as it could be doing? No, hell no. Not even close. No, it's not. And that's why it's upsetting that Rob Pelinka and company are wasting LeBron. Dude is still putting up 40 a night. Like, the guy can still hoop. And, like, to me, I look at the standings and I'm just sitting here saying, like, yeah, this is absolutely a product of poor management. I look at Phoenix. I look at LA. Like, even the Clippers. The Clippers are a great example. This is a team that realistically should have been, like, really good, top table good for the last 5 years, and they can't stay healthy. And Kawhi refuses to be a 70-game player. He just won't do it, injuries or otherwise, And if we're speaking on Joe Ingles, like, Joe Ingles didn't help that either, as we all remember. So that's why I say, like, you need your major markets to be successful. And that's why the last 2-minute report with Chicago is frustrating, because it would be nice if Chicago was a home court advantage team. That would be nice in the NBA playoffs. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, you look at those standings right there, much to the point that you're making. And the Bulls lose to the Cavs the other night on Donovan Mitchell's 71 that should never have been. The last 2-minute report, as we talked about a few minutes ago, says that Donovan Mitchell committed a lane violation, which clearly he did.
Yeah.
So that bucket shouldn't have counted. The game should have never gone to overtime. And look at that. The Bulls are 16-21 out of the Eastern Conference playoffs. But you look at least in the Eastern Conference, and this is why we've talked so much about the Brooklyn Nets. Like, I look at Boston, clearly the best team in the NBA. But
yeah,
Brooklyn's now just a half game behind them. And you look at Milwaukee, who got another massive performance out of Giannis last night. 24-13. Donnie and the Cavs, obviously, 24-14.
How about that?
Philly playing much better basketball. 22-14.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's crazy, but you also notice the Knicks are in the playoffs, but the Bulls are on the outside looking in. The East, at least, has significantly more marquee teams in the playoffs. And that's why I ask these questions about, can a small market team carry the NBA? And when I look at teams like Milwaukee winning the NBA Finals, winning a championship, I don't know that that's necessarily bad for the NBA, because Giannis is a massive superstar.
Well, and I think Milwaukee's big enough. I think they're obviously not LA, Chicago, like, size-wise.
But
like,
what about Memphis? Think about Memphis.
Memphis I have concerns with. I'll be honest with you. Like, with all due respect to Memphis, it's a blue-collar town. It's got that vibe. It's not the glitz and glamour LA, New York, like, style.
Yeah.
It's just not. And in marketing, you need that glitz and glamour, purple and gold, bright ass green. Like, you need that, man.
Yes.
You need that. And so to me, I love John Morant, love Jaren Jackson Jr., right? I love what Dylan Brooks brings to the floor. But these are not, like, Dylan Brooks is a great player that I don't feel like your average NBA fan knows about. Like, they know Ja. They don't know the rest of that team. It's Ja and everybody else. Just the same way, if you're a casual, you know LeBron and everybody else. The difference is LeBron's in LA, right? The difference is when LeBron was in Cleveland, which is a small market, he made that team. He made that market because he's one of the greatest of all time. That's the difference. So if you're going to be in Memphis, you have to be a greatest of all time caliber player for it to matter.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation for sure. I mean, because I think this league has been built on, obviously the savior that was the early 80s that absolutely dug this league out of a hole. You look at the Bird, Magic, Jordan era. You look at Dr. J and those Sixer teams.
What teams do they play on? What teams do they play on, though?
And that was my point, though, that those guys, the Boston Lakers, Philly, the rarity of the Indiana Pacers with Reggie Miller. The small market team that competes for a championship. Look at the Clyde Drexler Portland Trailblazers. Look at the Gary Payton Sonics. Like, those teams are very rare.
Yeah.
And I think you more readily look at teams like Golden State, who have been terrible when they were in Oakland until Steph Curry turned it around. And now they're a behemoth in this league and a dynasty. Like, I think major market teams are absolutely a requirement for success. I don't think that means that teams like the Utah Jazz or Memphis
San
Antonio can't thrive. I just think it is a transformative talent like a Giannis Antetokounmpo that bring you there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's why teams like an interesting team to me that continues to struggle is like the Dallas Mavericks. You have this unbelievable talent in Luka Doncic, and you just can't put guys around him. The difference with Giannis is you put guys around Giannis and they produce. You put Brook Lopez there. You put a guy like a Chris Middleton there. You put a guy like a Drew Holiday there. They perform because he's that much of a magnet and he wants his players around him to thrive.
Yeah.
I think talent has so much to do with it. Frankly, in OKC, I think it's been part of the problem. They've been terrible at drafting. And you now get like an SGA who's been hurt a lot. He's missed a lot of games, but he's clearly a superstar in this league. We don't know what a guy like a Josh Giddey's probably an average player at the end of the day. A guy like a Chet, we don't know. Chet got hurt before he ever played a game.
Yeah.
So you just have all these incidents, but now you get a New Orleans team built around a guy like Zion Williamson, who's a gravitational star. Right? Like he should be everything that Giannis is, but he can't get on the floor, right? Like it's just a very interesting time in the NBA. You have so many talented players, but you have so few elite teams, in my opinion. I like who are truly the best teams in the NBA? I don't think there's any doubt Boston's the best team in the NBA. I don't think there's any doubt Brooklyn's one of the best teams in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's Boston and Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Those three teams. I think Philly has the chance. I put
Philly there.
You can't put Philly there because Philly hasn't won anything. They haven't been there.
But neither is Brooklyn.
Brooklyn's been there. What do you mean?
And neither is Boston. But if we're talking about winning, the only team that's really minted here is Milwaukee with a championship.
I'm talking about like Jason Tatum has been going deep into the playoffs for the last 5 years. He ran into Bron, ran into Giannis, then they got to the NBA final. So to me, they're a legit team. You know they're going to be there. They're going to be an Eastern Conference Finals team every year. You know that. You can just book that. And then some years they'll get to the finals, other years they won't. The difference for me with Philly is Philly hasn't shown the ability to get deep. Philly is obviously a playoff team. They're obviously a good team.
But what about the Kawhi 7 bounces off the rim? That was in the Eastern Conference Finals. You look at, I think, with Joe and Simmons, they've made playoff runs.
Yeah.
I think the thing, and not a lot of people are talking about it, but I think it's a huge story. They're using Tyrese Maxey off the bench. And I think it's a huge story for them.
Yeah.
Because if Tyrese Maxey can give you offense off the bench, I all of a sudden think he is now an incredibly valuable chip.
Is this the time?
And listen, I think if you've watched this show at all, you know that I'm a huge believer in Tyrese. I think Maxey's an incredibly talented, gifted player.
And I agree with you.
But if he's a bench player, Russell Westbrook. If he's a bench, look at the value that Russell Westbrook has now brought to the Lakers as their sixth man. Every team's got to have it. It's why Jordan Clarkson is a folk hero in Utah, because he's been a phenomenal sixth man. Tyrese Maxey gives him that dude off the bench.
Yeah.
And I think that makes Philly very dangerous. But if you look in the West, I don't know that there is a truly elite team. I want to believe in Denver. And Murray is obviously, again, an ACL guy. Murray is obviously moving more and more and more into the old Jamal Murray.
Right.
Jokic is unbelievable.
But Denver's the Philly of the West.
They just don't win.
Yeah.
They just don't win.
And
they just don't win.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. I have Brooklyn, Boston, and Milwaukee are my top three. And I think Philly can easily jump into that group, but they're going to have to show that they can, consistently get deep. I agree with you. The Toronto thing, that was the Eastern Conference Finals. I forgot they made that appearance. That's a valid point. I agree they made that appearance.
Well, and I mean, Minnesota's going to dominate the West, I think, at some point.
Yes.
But Minnesota isn't Minnesota a little kind of a comparison team here? Because you have all of this talent who's never done anything together as a collective.
Well, and I think
that's the team I'd point to when you say they haven't done anything.
They haven't. And anybody who knows basketball knew that wasn't going to work, which is the genius of Danny.
But I'm telling you, at some point, that team's going to dominate because they're going to change their mix at the deadline.
Yeah, the Tyrese Maxey Philly situation needs to happen with Rudy Gobert. And that is a huge, slap in the face to Rudy. It's a massive pride pill to swallow for Conley in that front office.
But making $41 million a year makes that a little easier to swallow that pill, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it does. But Rudy,
Damn.
And again, I know James Knight, salty drunk, same guy. You're probably going to come into the comments and say, here we go with the Rudy hate. But I am dying on this hill, man.
Yeah.
Like this guy does not make a difference for you in championship terms. If you put him on the floor without Cat, he will make an impact for you. There's no doubt about that. He will protect the rim. He will make an impact. But what I'm telling you is that those two guys together on the floor at once is not going to work. So I do think that they need to make you need to make a foundational trade, and I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying certainly that that's Rudy Gobert, but you have to shuffle up that mix. You have to
It's D'Angelo and Jaden McDaniel.
Yeah,
that's who it is.
Yeah,
I mean, McDaniels is a hell of a nice player, but you need to mix that up because you're not trading Cat and you're not trading Rudy at this point.
And you're definitely not trading Anthony Edwards.
Ant is a stud.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't trade Slow-Mo. That doesn't mean that you wouldn't trade McDaniels.
Slow-Mo's a perfect example. Slow-Mo's a guy that's never going to be a problem for you.
$8.7 million a year, no problem. But when
affordable.
When you have a guy like Cap missing all this time, making $34 million a year, good God. That's crippling. Anyway, the point is, I think when you talk about teams and teams that are truly elite,
yeah,
I don't believe that there's a truly elite team in the West right now. I think the Suns, the Suns, you're seeing the end of Chris Paul, and you're seeing how valuable Devin Booker is to that team.
Where are the Warriors at in the standings right now? Where are they?
Where they've been,
how
bro?
Far back are they?
I mean, if we're truth telling about your boys, I got to remove that graph, but they're ninth. They're ninth. But
they're ninth. But look at the games back column. It's the most important column in the West.
They're 4 out.
4 out at 9. So my point with that,
half a game out of the 6th spot.
My point is that when you look at the West specifically, looking at some of these teams, you know the potential. We know that Phoenix probably isn't making splashes this year. They just have too much drama. There was a report that came out, which I think a lot of people forgot about, that Sarver still has to rubber stamp trades, because it hasn't officially been sold yet. There's drama there.
It's taking forever what feels like forever to finish this team. They're not the sale probably will not be final by the deadline, which is just crippling to Phoenix. It's absolutely crippling.
So my point is though that teams like Golden State, while they're 9th, they're 4 games out. Yeah. So whether you're 4th or 9th, it doesn't really matter. You're 4 games out with a long way to go here. So that's what I'm telling you. When you talk about Philly or Golden State or any of these teams that have that potential to go out and do some special things, that's still within them. But they got to do what Philly has done with, putting this guy on the bench or pulling these strings or that string. You got to make those changes to see the result.
And that's why I think the Jazz are in such a good spot when you look at the trade stuff. It's why I think teams like Oklahoma City, Atlanta, when you have chips to trade, I'm very curious about what, does Oklahoma City trade SGA at some point? Does when you look at a team like Atlanta, or you look at a team like the Lakers, or you look at a team like Phoenix, Golden State, what does Golden State do with James Wiseman? Because you can't tell me that Golden State's just going to sit on James Wiseman.
No, because
I don't believe they are. I mean, that would be like continuing to use charcoal briquettes instead of a pellet smoker from Barbecue Pit Stop. You just wouldn't do that. You just wouldn't use propane when you have a pellet smoker.
Come on, guy.
From bbqpitstop.com.
Some of your best work.
Oh, dude, and I'm good looking. Good Lord. Barbecue Pit Stop delivers you the 7 o'clock hour right here on the Monty Show. And I'm telling you guys, if you have not gotten into the pellet smoker game, you're missing out. And you're missing out something terrible. Because the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop are phenomenal people to do business with. Now, listen, I'm a Traeger guy. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Traeger makes the best pellet smoker in the business. I use my Ironwood 885 on a regular basis. It's super easy. And again, I was shoveling off my patio yesterday, getting ready to fire up the Traeger smoker, and I love the cover for the grill. I love the cover for the grill. I can't wait for springtime because it got me that big old orange Traeger mat. I'm going to put it on the ground in front of the grill. The accessories, the total package you get with Traeger, that you get all of those accessories, Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Shop online with those guys or go to any of their 5 Utah locations in Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. Geezy, that'd be St. George, and, of course, Salt Lake City, Murray. They're just phenomenal people to do business with. But if you're sitting there asking yourself, man, what's a pellet smoker? That sounds complicated. It's not. You quite literally plug it in, put the pellets in the little, there's a thing called a hopper. It's a little box. Pour the pellets in, hit ignite, and that thing fires up. You wait for it to get to temperature, put your meat, put your pizza, put your veggie skewers on, anything you want, your wings. You put your drumettes, rather. I need to stop saying wings because, again, I think it's just a given that nobody eats flats.
Bro.
Right? Nobody eats flats, right? Yeah, nobody eats. Yeah, we
What
know.
Whoa.
Who are we kidding?
Flats are a valuable part of the smoking environment.
Jake, relax. Anyway, the point is we all know that people don't eat anything but drums. We don't use flats, right? So you put your drums on the Traeger smoker. It's amazing. And you can get it all at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Chat with them online right now. Make sure you tell me you heard about it on the Monty Show. Let's get your comments in here. Blake Phillips says, having seen Agbaji in person for 4 years, he's a slow bloomer. He defers, but in time, I think his work ethic and mindset and skill will be a solid player. They need Ochai Agbaji on the Utah Jazz to bloom.
If Ochai Agbaji could turn into what Grayson Allen brings to the Bucks, we're good to go.
Oh, my goodness.
We're good to go. Like, knock down your 3 and play defense.
Just don't be a dirty-ass player, though.
Just don't Caruso anybody, and we're good to go.
Wow. Don't Caruso anybody. Had to bring that into the conversation, didn't you? Let's see. Salty Drunk says, Josh Giddey will be a future all-star, but okay, Monty, you can call it average. Well, I didn't say into the future. He's an average NBA player. On a good team, does Josh Giddey play the minutes and get the ball volume that he gets now? Oh, you didn't think about that. No, that's right. He doesn't.
Play intramurals, brother.
He doesn't. Yeah. He if he's on the Golden State Warriors,
7th guy.
like it's Oklahoma City. Why is Rudy Gobert not the star he was in Salt Lake City? Oh, that's right, because he's on a team that's more talented. Anyway, Mash, good morning. I would trade Cat. He has never done anything in Minnesota other than put up numbers, and they have had 3-4 different teams around him. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, it's a great point. And that's why I say, like, I don't even think when it comes to Rudy, like, again, just like what I said when he was a Jazz man, Rudy, it's not necessarily that Rudy is the source of the issue. Rudy's game is Rudy's game. Like, just the same way that, Jared Vanderbilt has a certain game and has certain limitations, like, that's his game. You know who he is. So that's why I say you have to be realistic about it and be, straightforward about it. Rudy Gobert is not necessarily the source of their problem. Their problem is that they have a bunch of guys that they've kind of thrown together, and you lost glue guys from that former T-Wolves team like Vanderbilt and like Malik Beasley, like the guys that did the little things that allowed Cat to take defensive possessions off. Like, that's what you're missing now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is going to be interesting to see what Minnesota does because they're not going to win in the West.
You know what the real problem is that Minnesota is now in a position where they can't be emotional about the moves they make because that's what the Gobert thing is. That's what the Gobert thing is, right?
Totally.
Like Conley, right? Their vice president of basketball operations was head over heels for Rudy Gobert. Right? Head over heels. That's why they did this deal. Loved Rudy Gobert, had history through the draft and trade and all that. Everyone knows the story. But he was emotional about Rudy. And he made this deal. And to me, I wouldn't have made the deal, obviously, but I think we all know that. But he did make the deal. And you did make that trade, and now you're in this position. So taking the emotions out of it, what will you do? Will you trade, slow-mo? Will you trade D-Lo? Will you sit Gobert down and bring him off the bench now? Like, what will you do?
You can't trade Anthony,
no,
you cannot trade Anthony.
That's
you
a generational
just can't.
Player,
you can't do that. Like in my opinion, he's just that guy. Like if I'm OKC, I'm never trading. Like Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey's a guy that if I'm OKC, I need to know, can he be a franchise player?
Yeah,
because he's a guy that can shoot 35-40% consistently from 3. But is he just a mid-tier player in the league, or is he a guy that you can build a franchise around? That to me. I need to know the top end of my best players.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know that you've seen Anthony Edwards. I don't know that you've seen the top end of that guy. I don't have you seen the top end? Like Lauri Markkanen for the Jazz. I think we know who he is. I think we know he's a number 2 or 3 on a championship team.
The only question with Lauri is how much top end does he have left in his game? Because I still don't believe that he's reached his absolute peak. And I think within his game skill set wise he has, but mentally that killer mentality we always talk about, going and getting the ball, like kind of taking that
But you
step
can't
into,
develop that. I don't believe that you can develop
that. As a player, it's a choice. Absolutely. I don't
he's too nice of a guy. He's not an alpha. You need what this team needs is to keep Lauri. I would not trade him under any circumstance. I think he is the prototypical Jazz man. I think he's a great fit here.
Yeah.
But you need a killer. Dude,
Facts.
you need somebody. The Utah Jazz need to go out and get an absolute murderer for their number 1.
But like that's why SGA and OKC is such a nice story because he's turned into that guy. And that's why I say be patient with the Jazz. Be patient because I do, with everything going on the floor that we don't like, the turnovers, the bad basketball, no extra passes, everything we talked about last hour on the show with the Jazz, I still believe that Danny Ainge has a plan and has a structure that he wants to mold this team into. And if he realizes that, this team will be very good. And that's what you have to hold on to.
I keep going back to what I always say. It's easy to be a star player on a crappy team.
Yeah.
Super easy. It is really difficult to be Jalen Brunson on the Knicks. It is really difficult to be a star player that signed a huge contract and that team's got expectations.
Trey Young.
It's difficult. Well, Trey Young's an interesting point. That team should be better. And I put a lot of the blame on Trey Young.
Yep.
They went and got DeJounte Murray, and they have not been better. And now the coach is probably going to leave, and you're probably going to trade him.
You know what the real problem is? A lot of people feel like DeJounte's been better than Trey.
I think he has
been.
I think he has been.
That's the drama source.
But if you look around the league on the bad teams, like Anthony Edwards, if I put Anthony Edwards on the Knicks, is he still the same player? I think he's a better player in New York.
Agreed.
I think he takes a step forward. But you're surrounding him with this awkward group of guys. So you're never going to get Ant's top end because the guys that are surrounding him are so awkward. I look at a guy like a Lauri Markkanen. If I put Lauri Markkanen on the best team if I put Lauri Markkanen on the Boston Celtics, they're a better team. They are a better team. If I put a guy like, and here, go back to Josh Giddey. If I put Josh Giddey on the Boston Celtics, can he be their second best player? No, he can't. He won't. He's not better than Jaylen Brown. He's not better than Jason Tatum. Maybe does he grow into that? Yeah, because he can shoot the three. He's athletic. He rebounds. He does a lot of things you like, but he's that utility guy. Mm-hmm. He's your third or fourth guy on that team.
He's Austin Reeves 2.0 in my opinion.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But the point is, you have to be able to identify those guys and say, hey, I need to know the top end of that guy.
With all due respect.
And Giddey, I need to know the top end of that guy.
I think Giddey can turn into an all-star. I think he's got that within him. But I agree with you. You're nobody ever talks about the fact that, like what you were saying about Anthony Edwards, like nobody talks about that, hey, if you're playing with a great group of guys, that's going to elevate your game. That's probably 5-6 buckets a game for you, extra. If you're playing with a really cohesive
Devin Booker and
group.
Chris Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Devin Booker's probably putting up, 5-6 more points a game if you've got Mike Conley there instead of Chris Paul.
What is Austin Reeves not with LeBron James?
Yeah, it's a great question.
If LeBron James isn't on that team, is Austin Reeves this good? Probably not. Probably not. And I think there's nothing wrong with being a role player. You joked about Caruso earlier.
Yeah.
Alex Caruso's a role player.
Yeah.
That team's out of the playoffs. Alex Caruso's never going to make or break the Chicago Bulls, right?
But look at what Caruso's done for himself, though. Like, Caruso is the ultimate, role player. He's the guy that can play 30 minutes a night off the bench because he does so many little things. But he's not an all-star. He's not like some great, I'm going to take you to the postseason guy. He just does a lot of little things.
But he makes $9 million a year doing a lot of little
affordable.
things. Yeah, and he's a cherry on top of the cake.
And
man.
you know what he really is? And this is what I think a lot of players could learn from. He isn't a problem in the locker room,
That's
and he's
right.
not a problem in the media.
Yep.
Just do your thing.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how many teams just can't get it right with their roster. Like they're just dysfunctional. And look at Brooklyn. This, and not to belabor the Brooklyn point, but this is what's so remarkable about Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's so remarkable because I just don't know how on earth has Brooklyn turned this thing around. Didn't make a trade, didn't change any of the roster.
How is that even possible?
How'd you turn this around? It wasn't the coach. It wasn't the general manager. It's been Kyrie Irving.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
But what is Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant's the best player in the world, arguably.
Yeah.
He was never going to be the problem. Kyrie Irving has changed his attitude. Kyrie Irving has changed his game. Kyrie Irving is bringing everybody else into it. Kyrie Irving's dunking on people.
Yeah.
I said Kyrie Irving's dunking on people.
Yeah, next question.
That's crazy.
Yeah, please respect my privacy. Next question.
This is a players' league.
Yeah.
And when you're the elite teams, you've got to have good role players around them.
And they do.
Yeah, they do. And their role players, Patty Mills, I think is worth his weight in platinum. Like that guy, like he's a great bench player, good shooter. He's not going to play 30 minutes a night. He's not going to win you a championship. But man, whatever you're paying that guy, he's worth every. It's Mike Conley.
Yeah.
If you put Mike Conley and pick the mid-table team, if you put Mike Conley, how much better is Golden State with Steph Curry out of the lineup if Mike Conley had been able to slide into that spot instead of Jordan Poole? I'm telling you they're a better team. I'm telling you the Lakers are better. I'm telling you the Mavericks are better. I'm telling you any of those teams that don't have a traditional point guard would be better with Mike Conley, and they would be, in my opinion, Mike Conley takes Phoenix and puts them back up into the top 5 teams in the West.
Yeah. I agree.
But are any of those teams willing to make that deal? How long is Washington not going to trade Bradley Beal? How long?
Yeah.
Because if you trade Bradley Beal, and somebody told me the other day that Bradley Beal is of interest to the Atlanta Hawks. If you put DeJounte Murray and Bradley Beal on the floor together, what does that look like?
Savage.
Good God.
Savage.
Right? Like, so all I'm saying is you surround really good players with really good role players, and all of a sudden that's your key to success. Like, again, as a Bulls fan, I'm really honest about DeMar DeRozan. I love D-Rose. That's my guy.
Yeah.
He's at the end of the road here. He is a guy that's got, probably 2 years left in him. Zach LaVine is not the guy to be playing next to DeMar DeRozan. Every single MFing day, trade Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
You can't now because you signed him to this stupid, huge deal. But if you moved Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic off that roster, that's a better basketball team. You want to know where Josh Giddey would thrive? Playing next to a guy like D-Rowe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where he would,
Exactly.
like that kind of guy is what they don't have. Why is Ayo Dosunmu struggling to develop in Chicago? Because he never touches the ball. He never has the ball in leverage situations. Because D-Rowe should never pass, and Zach LaVine won't ever pass.
Big difference.
Okay, don't get me going. You know.
What are the people saying?
What are the people saying? Louis Capazzo, how the heck are you? Richard McDonald says flats for the win.
Hey,
stop it.
See what I mean?
There is no yeah, exactly. See, there's no reason to come in here and start trouble.
Okay, that's enough. Stop, please.
Yeah, you got to knock it off.
Please.
Can't be talking about flats on this show because we know that no men eat flats.
I do.
Well, but exactly, Josh Giddey. You're not exactly. You eat flats. As I said, no real men eat flats on this show.
We can agree on ranch, though. Well, you don't eat ranch now? You're too cool for school?
I'm trying to remember. You wanted to put ranch on something the other day, and I was like, what? I can't remember what it was. I don't know. Let's see. Louis Capazzo says, hey, peeps, crush the like button. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, where are we at?
We've had 1,000 people watch this show already and only 34 likes. Let's go. If 124 of you that are here right now hit the like button, man, this show would blow up. Where's the mayor of Montytown? He said, did somebody say Caruso? You're darn right I did.
Yeah, Alex Caruso, the Carusinator.
You're darn right I did.
21.
Can you do something for me? Scott Howard says that Jazz have lost a series of games that could have gone either way. Dude, I think
it's not true. I'm sorry, man. It's not that they could have gone either way. They are not earning these wins. They don't deserve to win the game. That's the problem, man.
You know what the truth is? If we're truth-telling, they probably, with the exception of the Warrior game, because I just don't think they were ever in that.
No, they weren't in that one.
They should have beat the Spurs. They should have absolutely beat the Kings in Sacramento. They should have beat the Heat. That was just stupidity.
Yeah.
And they should have beat the Kings last night. They should be 4-1 in their last 5. Instead, they're 0-5. And furthermore, I would go back to like the Cavs game and the Bucks game. They were never winning those games. Torch. Those were 2 of the worst performances of the year. But go back to the Pelicans game. Should they have lost the Pelicans game? No, because what did they do in that game? They won a close game because they moved the ball. Like it's very simple to me. They would have won these games. Throw out defense. They're not a good defensive team. They're not going to be a good defensive team. Make an extra pass and run offense.
Facts.
Why are we walking the ball up again last night? Did anybody notice that? We're just going to walk the ball up. And the fact that Domantas Sabonis gets a free possession that turns into a jump shot.
Excuse me, it's Dumas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dumbass Sabonis.
Yeah.
Hey, stop talking shit.
That was a half-court violation, by the way. There was a big fight on Twitter over that. He had possession of that ball. But anyway, those little mistakes that the Jazz are making, not making the extra pass, they should be 4-1 in their last 5. Instead, they're 0-5, and they've earned that 0-5. They have earned that 0-5. Salty Drunk still talking about Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey will be a number 2 on a good team.
Dude, we get it. He's from Melbourne. We get it, bro.
Josh Giddey is from Melbourne. Okay,
yeah,
well,
we
there
understand.
you go. I knew it was Australian. I didn't realize you were hometown homies. Scott Howard says, keep Laurie, Sexton, Kessler, and be open for business on other players for the right deals. I love Walker Kessler's top end. That sounds awkward. But I want to see him at his very best ever. I want to see him play his best ball. I don't know about Colin Sexton. And again, he's hurt, by the way. But I don't know about Colin Sexton. I think, you know what, Scott, you're exactly right. He's not a team-friendly deal. I mean, it's inconsequential money-wise. But I just don't know. What do you think he is in terms of an important player to a championship team? Like, what do you think he is?
I mean, on a championship team, I think he's coming off the bench, if I'm being honest. Like, I think that he's not a starter on a championship team. He's just not. He's not there yet. I think that Colin Sexton's highest and best potential is a starter on a playoff team playing the 1. I think he brings the ball up. I think he gets you into your offense, and I think he's the guy, he's the point guard that, can get his own bucket when he needs to. But I don't want him regularly going after the rim. Like, I want him getting into the offense and focusing on defense. That's what I want.
I would like to see him be a facilitator.
Yeah.
A facilitator first, a scorer second. I just don't think this is a Jordan Clarkson discussion all over again. I just don't think Jordan Clarkson is ever going to be a facilitator on any level at any time in his career.
Yeah.
He is, flame on, brah. He is that guy, right?
So obnoxious.
He is that guy he's a scorer. He's a bucket getter. And there's a role for that. It's called sixth man. But why didn't Quinn Snyder play him in the last 5 minutes of games? Well, I think we're finding out right now. Because he's just not a guy you can count on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scott Howard, I think you're exactly right. Lopes fan Gabe says, hit the like button, casuals, please. Jeremy Bolton says, Caruso is the ultimate 0.4 board, 0.1 assist, 9.9 turnover guy.
Dilly.
Don't.
I'm not going to go into
Do not go into Caruso stats, please.
All I know is Caruso's making $9 million a year, and he's worth every penny of it. And again, I'll just point out it's why LeBron says he misses him. Michael Burton says, agreed, I think Giddey will be a starter on many teams, and he's very young. His best is yet to come. His top end is absolutely, we don't know it yet. It'll be interesting to see what Josh Giddey turns into. Right now, he's just an average player. Riley O'Brien says, morning, fellas. What's up? The best RV salesman. You're looking at an RV? Talk to Riley O'Brien.
Yeah.
Talk to Riley O'Brien. The guy is an absolute master of it. Forrest G says, hello, good morning. What's up, Forrest? Good to see you in the GZ. I just slapped that like button so hard. Don't break it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, please do try and break it. Again,
oh my God, just like that.
Thank you. Halfway, 50% through the show, we're at 48 likes. Yesterday, we got 160 likes.
Pretty good.
On the show. Let's keep rolling. Mr. Nutter Butter. Now, we've argued about this on the show.
It's a great discussion. We got 10 minutes for it if you want to do it.
So as somebody who understands how to be fat,
right?
Why don't you explain? No, I'm kidding. As somebody who loves cookies.
Fat.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Nutter Butters have a place in the Hall of Fame.
First team all fat ass right here, bro. And Nutter Butters are on the roster.
Now, I'm with you that golden Oreo double stuffed Oreos, golden double stuffed Oreos in the family size pack, that's how you get on Rebelsis, right? Like that is your, you just drive that blood sugar through the roof.
I'm a man.
I mean, through the roof. Rebelsis. AC1, A1C and stuff. Golden double stuffed Oreos.
Bomb.
My friends. But Nutter Butters, you
know what I like about Nutter Butters?
You bite that peanut in half and...
I like the volume of cookie you get with Nutter Butters.
Yes.
Their packaging is large and in charge, dude.
Yes.
Let's go.
And the peanut butter, like, I don't like Reese's peanut butter cups, mainly because the peanut butter makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
That confection peanut butter. The peanut butter in Nutter Butters, my friends.
Yeah, it's bomb.
It's what we're talking about.
It's bomb.
It's what's right in the world.
I want it.
You know what I'm saying? Best cookie, go.
Double stuffed Oreos, golden, family size.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, though, the lemon Oreos, those thin lemon Oreos, the Mrs. Monty special.
And I quickly learned as well that you need to check the dates on Oreos because when you can get them fresh, they are way better. Way better, dude.
No doubt about it.
Notice that Mr. Nutter Butter said, "What's good, homies?"
Yeah. What's good, homies? I'm telling you. Have you ever soaked your Nutter Butter in milk? Well, listen, I don't talk about what I do behind closed doors. I mean, generally, that feels like a really personal question for us, and I don't understand. Oh, you mean the cookie? No, I have not. No, I have not. I'm not a milk drinker. I know this is going to sound crazy. I don't drink soda, and I don't drink milk. I drink almond milk. So, no, I don't soak my Nutter Butter, and the king of soaking here.
Right.
I don't soak my Nutter Butter in milk, because I
Right.
generally don't drink milk. I used to. My God. My God. It's amazing. I just, Anyway, your favorite cookie in the comments. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Double stuffed Oreos taste unbalanced.
Bro, what do you mean? Mike, what do you mean, dude?
Mike?
And by the way, you're going to have to clarify because you can get the regular Oreo double stuffed. You can get golden double stuffed.
Oh, Kanai Johnson. Nutter
yogurt. We did this in California. When we got frozen yogurt at Yogurtland. Oh yeah, you got to put Nutter Butters on it.
Ooh, I'm verklempt. Like, yeah, that's so good. Why did you have to bring up Nutter Butters? Why? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to do that to the show? Mike Maple says double stuffed Oreos are unbalanced. I still don't understand with that. Forrest G, I agree. Regular Oreos, not double stuffed, are more balanced. What are we doing?
What do you mean?
What are we doing?
Dude, bro, what do you mean unbalanced, dude?
Bro.
We all know the more cream we can get, the better.
Hey, man, we all have choices to make in this life. Lewis says too much stuffing and double stuffed Oreos. No. Again, that's how you spike your blood sugar.
Yeah.
The double stuffing, creamy.
Yeah, more stuffing. And stuff.
Anyway. Oh, Mayor, why? EL Fudge. Can't tell you how many times I've eaten an entire package.
Dude, get it. Get it, dude. Get it.
Oh, my God, yes. Yes, the EL Fudge are amazing. Let's see. Forrest G says cookie to cream ratio.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Dude, wait until we have the National Spaghetti Day conversation in about an hour. Let's see. Pied Piper says Subway's chocolate chip cookies. Now this is an educated human being because he's right. And I am not like, I'm one of the few few guys who don't like the Costco chocolate chip cookies. I don't like them. It's not my thing. I think they're just not great. Man, you go to Subway, you get that. I'm telling you.
We really did.
I'm telling you. They are good. Troy Cushing, good to see you, my friend. He says, morning, Monty and Jake. Hope you had a great holiday. We did.
You too.
Salty Drunk says, how's Mrs. Monty doing? She loves the Aussie Tim Tam. The Tim Tam's a good cookie. She's doing well. She started rehabbing her arm yesterday. Forrest G says, hey, Jake, would quad stuffed Oreos be imbalanced?
No. Again, more cream the better, dude. More cream the better.
David Hume says double stuffed is gross.
Wow, are we really hating on double stuffed right now, bro?
Wow.
Dude.
Wow. I'm surprised by that. Lopes fan Gabe, nobody cares about cookie to cream ratio when you're supposed to break Oreos apart and eat the cream inside first
stop.
anyway.
See,
that's exactly right.
No,
that's exactly right.
No. This is what you do with Twix as well. You like to eat what do? You eat the cookie first? And what do you do?
Stop talking, flat
like,
guy. Stop
dude,
talking.
What do you,
this is why
Twix, bro.
this is why people don't like you.
Okay,
because
it's not
you
that
say
they don't like me. They just disagree about cream ratio.
They disagree about cream ratio.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Again, this is why people don't like you, because you eat you eat the chocolate and caramel, not caramel. You eat the chocolate and caramel off the top of the Twix bar, then eat the remaining cookie.
No.
Yeah, the only candy bar you eat whole is a Twix or is a Snickers. Twix, you eat that caramel off the top first. And what I do with a double stuffed Oreo is you take one Oreo cookie off one side and then you scrape the cream off the other Oreo cracker on your teeth.
Dude, stop, man.
And then
You're
you eat
ruining
the
the
cookie
experience,
No,
dude.
I am making, bruh. You ain't breaking me. You making me.
I'm a man.
I'm teaching you that rebellious way of living your life.
I cannot believe we're sitting here hating on double stuffing. I am so surprised by this.
I can't believe we are sitting here talking about how to eat the cream off of an Oreo
this
cookie.
Is incredible.
It's amazing. Anyway, eating Twix in parts, WTF?
That's what I'm saying,
damn right.
Mike. Dude, Mike, that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
Mike,
you're
I need to know. Mike,
Twix.
listen. Mike Maples.
Mike.
You are one of my favorite viewers of this show. But we need to have a come to wing moment now.
Yeah, next question.
I need to know flats or drums out of you, Maples, because you're saying some things that make me question whether you are a drum guy. You're talking about like Twix and Oreo. Like, hey, man, I need to know.
Okay, that's enough. Stop, please.
You're saying some hurtful things. Let's see. David Hume says, Monty, so Posh, he eats deconstructed Twix. Hey, man.
He's sophisticated.
Yeah, man. I'm living that, Louis Vuitton life. I'm coming.
And that's how I look at it.
I'm coming. Too much. Joshua Moses has been gone for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden Monty's eating Twix.
That's what I'm saying,
like
bro.
a crazy.
Like,
I've always eaten Twix. Like, the problem is I don't eat much sugar at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in Tahoe, we were playing Uno because now Uno has become the sensation of the Monty compound. And we were eating Oreos and playing Uno in Tahoe.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a Twix bar in like 6 months, but I know how to eat a Twix bar.
Right.
I do. Tyler P says Twix are to be eaten whole and Oreos are to be dunked in milk and eaten whole. Dude, you are a sadist.
I never got it. I have to be honest, though. Like, as a kid, I drank milk. I don't drink milk anymore. I'm on the almond milk train as well. But I never got into the dunking cookies thing. It was never really my deal.
Guy. There's a cookie called a ginger snap. Yellow box, red letters. So good to be dunked in milk. Yes. A couple more. Let's see. Forrest G says, what about the Parent Trap peanut butter dipped Oreos? See, there is this little thing here that we were going to talk about our favorite kid junk food.
Yeah.
Where is it? You didn't put a picture of the Oreo cakesters in here. I can't believe it. Oreo cakesters. No. I mean, this is the best junk food right here.
Right.
Double chocolate donuts are way better than powdered donuts.
Yeah.
But, oh, my God, you did. Entenmann's. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You know how many Entenmann's? Oh, man. I mean, and then Uncrustables.
Who hasn't had one? Come on. Come on.
Uncrustables are so good. Anyway, the point is, there's a thing called an Oreo cakester. Dude, it will kill you. You're going to die. If you eat it, you're going to die.
Did Mike reply yet about wings?
Mike Maples did not reply, and it's very disappointing.
Well, it tells you everything you need to know, right?
Well, you know. Troy Cushing says the marathon bar was the bomb. Oh, my God. I haven't had a marathon bar in I don't know how long. Lopes Fan Gabe says best cookies were the Otis Spunkmeyer chocolate chip. The Deca Club used to sell in high school. Oh, man. Otis Spunkmeyer. Good Lord. Forrest G says cinnamon donuts for the win. No, man. Chocolate over chocolate. Double. Oh, my God.
What is this comment here at the bottom? This longer one? Yeah, what does that say?
2023 Gabriel says, hey, guys, morning. I've seen your guys talk yesterday about Skip Bayless' tweet, and apparently when Shannon returned this morning, Skip doubled down on his tweet. Just wanted to tell you. Is that true?
Bro? Seriously, dude?
All right, football 50-10 of the hour, every hour on the Monty Show. Hey, Monty!
Hey, Monty!
Football 50 presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Speaking of best food,
yeah,
I will again say the meatball marinara is at Papa Murphy's, and I know that they want us, talking about the chicken garlic pizza. Nah, bro, the meatballs are they changed my life. I mean, look, you want to see them? It's probably like right here. Those meatballs are amazing.
Bomb, dude.
So good.
And day 2 meatballs are even better.
Oh, the day 2 meatballs were amazing. Because what they do is they inject it with that addictive, amazing mozzarella.
Again, cream ratio.
They inject the cheese into the. Oh my God, so good, so easy to make. Isn't that the bottom line? And by the way, the chocolate chip cookies from now. If you're ordering pizza and you're not getting the take and bake chocolate chip cookies at Papa Murphy's, again, you eat flats. I get it. Yeah, I get it. You got to get the take and bake. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. This is the Skip Bayless tweet from yesterday. Now, if you were not on the show yesterday, you know that Demar Hamlin was injured on the field in Cincinnati for Monday Night Football. By the way, the update on Demar is he is doing significantly better, and they are starting cognitive testing on him today. And they tested him overnight, according to a family friend, and he is showing tremendous signs of recovery. So continue to keep him in your thoughts. But this is Skip Bayless on Monday night, and he got crushed for this. He got crushed for this. And if you don't know, Fox made him tweet retractions and apologies to that tweet. They made him start his show yesterday, Skip Bayless, with an apology about this tweet. It has now been confirmed that Shannon Sharpe did not show up to that show yesterday because he was so upset about the tweet that Skip Bayless put out. And apparently, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe are back together this morning. And according to the commenter, he doubled down on that tweet.
On some quick research here on Twitter, essentially what happened is Shannon Sharpe is doing his opening monologue, talking about, Demar and the situation and why he didn't show up to work, and basically just explaining the whole thing. Skip cuts him off in the middle of that monologue after Shannon said that Skip should take down his tweet.
Which he still is not.
And he still is not. And then they got into a big fight, and it got really uncomfortable, apparently. So, yeah, nice job, Skip. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised that Skip Bayless is still employed. I'm really surprised by it.
I don't get it, dude.
Really surprised by it. Jaron Eccles, did you guys see Dan Orlovsky say a prayer live on ESPN?
Yep.
We did. I wanted to play it, but we cannot play it. There's copyright laws about that. But what was your reaction to that? Because if you missed it, Dan Orlovsky on NFL Live yesterday on ESPN quite literally said a prayer live on the air.
Yeah, my reaction to that was a couple of things. Number one, I love that Dan is doing that. I think that's, that Dan is, I'm a big Dan Orlovsky guy. I like his style. I like his breakdowns on football. I just like what he does. I thought praying on live TV was really interesting because you're doing it on ESPN, and ESPN is not one to usually take that kind of risk, if you will. They usually don't go that far out of bounds, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, to me, I thought it was really interesting they allowed him to do that, because that definitely was something he would have had to talk about and get permission to do. But I thought it was lovely. I thought it was on point. I thought if you were ever going to do something like that, now would be the time. And yeah, it just is what it is. I don't think it was bad.
I didn't have any problem. It was so, you know why it was so powerful? Because Dan clearly didn't want to do it. And he was thinking about, should I not, should I do this in his head? And he did it anyways. And I think if you are a man that has faith and you're convicted in Christ and you want to get on ESPN and say a prayer, knock yourself out, man. And I thought his co-hosts handled it remarkably well. I think it went over very well. I know that Dan Orlovsky is a big-time, follower of Jesus Christ. And I say, hey, man, if that's who you are, do you.
And this is my problem with Skip. Like, the same way that Dan Orlovsky's co-hosts, were empathetic and were like, hey, yeah, let's do this. We're good. We're going to support you in this. It's just the same way that Skip will not allow Shannon to do his opening monologue and speak for himself, and that really bothers me.
Were you guys surprised? How did you guys react? Did you guys see that? I mean, would you have turned it off? We watched it. I didn't turn it off. We actually saw it. I didn't turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I know that we, it's a different discussion between, politics, church and state, totally different discussion. But did you guys have a problem with that? I didn't have a problem with it at all. And it didn't make me uncomfortable, knowing Dan a little bit from having worked with him, that's who he is. So I didn't have a problem with that. And I think if you're being genuine and authentic, I think that's exactly where you should be. 2023 Gabriel says Fox Sports has to do something with Skip Bayless because do they really want someone like him to be the face of their brand with Dan Orlovsky for him praying on national TV? Dan Orlovsky for him praying on national TV. I agree with this tweet 100%. I think Skip Bayless today becomes a problem for Fox Sports.
Yeah.
The apology thing, the way that they ran him out yesterday, it almost was like a punishment for him. This now is going too far. Attacking Shannon for, and then getting into a fight about whether he should have deleted the tweet or... It's going too far now. It's become dramatic, and maybe that's what they want. I don't know. As we talked about yesterday, Fox Sports has had viewership issues for their entire history.
Yeah.
Maybe Skip brings them viewers. I don't know. They have less than half of the viewership that, Hot Take or whatever it's called on ESPN has.
First Take.
First Take, thank you. Skip Bayless becomes a problem today for Fox Sports. In my opinion, he becomes a problem. San Diego State Aztec, good morning. He says, why be surprised about Skip still being there? It's Fox. I've unfortunately seen what they'll tolerate for years. Wow. And again, we talked about this yesterday. I don't believe either one of us has ever seen that show in total.
No.
I've never turned on his show on Fox. One, I'm on the air when it's going on. I'm doing the show. But two, it's just not, I'm not a Skip Bayless guy. I would never tune into his show. I just am not. Eminem says, I love what Dan did on ESPN. I know the media hates when players or coaches are interviewed after a game, but I love it. I don't care. I don't know why it bothers people so much. When a guy says, hey, I just want to, bless up. Or Steph Curry, the bless up thing. Or, hey, I want to thank Jesus for my talent. Okay, cool, man. I don't have a problem with that. There are so many people that get pissed off when a player says, hey, I just want to thank God for, everything we've accomplished. Cool. My wife always says, well, why not give yourself credit for your having athletic ability and performing? Hey, it's cool. I would. If you want to thank God for that, knock yourself out.
It's a belief thing, man.
Yeah, I don't. I personally, it does not bother me.
Yeah.
It does not bother me. Jaron Eccles says, I thought it was exactly what everyone needed to see and hear. What a big move from ESPN to do something of that magnitude for something so devastating. Well, I got news for you. If he'd have gone to ESPN and said, hey, I want to pray on the air today, are you guys good with that? They'd have said no. And I think when you're Dan Orlovsky, you're in a position of leverage where you can ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Yeah.
And I think he handled it lovely. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Greg Romano said keywords genuine and authentic. Well, and that again is who Dan Orlovsky is. He's not like drama or play up the drama guy at all. Pied Piper says, I don't have a problem with prayer in this context. Keep religion out of politics, though. Totally agree. RA says the outrage bros are at it again. Moving on. Yeah, I don't know why you would. I think is he referring to us?
I'm to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, I would think the viewers Skip brings are the ones you don't want. Well, that could be. Greg Romano says, I missed the Best Damn Sports Show, period. Worked on that show. I used to be a producer on the Best Damn Sports Show. Tom Arnold is amazing to work with. Tyler P says, Undisputed is just Lakers, Cowboys, Tom Brady love fest every show.
Yeah.
Jeff Johnson gets the final word and says, I'm not a Skip fan, but I like Shannon. I watch mainly for him because he's real on his takes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
That's fair.
And I don't have a problem with that. Football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour is presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Papa Murphy's presents How to Change the Way You Pizza. Step 1, grab a delicious Papa Murphy's pizza. Step 2, bake. Step 3, chow down on the deliciousness. Right now, get the chicken garlic pizza for just $9.99 at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza presents football at 50:10 of the hour every hour. And again, I just want to remind people that Papa Murphy's, they're all small business owners. They're entrepreneurs. They're all people that live in your communities. It's what I love about Papa Murphy's, and we talk about it a lot on this show, that those are independent operators. I love that those guys put their heart and souls, and I know many of the owners at Papa Murphy's stores, and they all put their heart and souls into it. So many of them are family businesses with Utahns that, you know, are investing in their families and themselves. And if that matters to you, go shop at a Papa Murphy's. If great pizza and wonderful meatballs and awesome take and bake s'mores and chocolate chip cookies matters to you, go shop at Papa Murphy's. Papa Murphy's Pizza, download their mobile app. The cool thing is you can select the store that you order in, and then just put in the promo code Monty25 to save 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. The Monty Show. Good morning to you. If you're just tuning in this morning, we're talking about this apparently Skip Bayless has doubled down on his tweet about Demar Hamlin. And again, the latest update on Demar Hamlin, because I think it's really important. He remains in ICU. His uncle told CNN last night that he was still fighting. A family friend this morning is tweeting that Demar is showing signs of recovery. Demar's family doctors overnight got promising readings that they had been hoping to see by this morning. I think that's huge, because where Demar is now, according to medical experts, Demar is in a position where he has to now show cognitive function. And again, if you don't, I can't believe you don't, but if you don't know what happened to Demar Hamlin, his heart stopped on the field. He did not have a heart attack. There's a big difference between having a heart attack and cardiac arrest. What happened to Demar Hamlin was he got hit in the chest by T. Higgins. He was tackling T. Higgins. The force of the hit went into his chest. And as it was explained yesterday, it interrupted his heartbeat. The electricity that goes through your heart, that keeps your heart beating, interrupted that. His heart stopped on the field. So they had to revive him. They got him, his heart beating again, took him to the hospital. They had to revive him again at the hospital. He's in a medically induced coma with a breathing tube. They were giving him oxygen. And the good news started coming in yesterday on Demar Hamlin that they had gone from 100% pure oxygen, because he couldn't breathe on his own, down to 50% oxygen, because he was breathing much better. He was processing better. Because the other thing they did is they put him on his chest. In his hospital bed, he's laying on his chest. And what that does is it takes the pressure off your heart and your lungs so that they can process better. And so now the next step has been, well, how much damage was done to his vital organs, including his brain?
Right.
Does he have brain function? And so now today they were going to measure that. And overnight, according to his family, he started showing signs of awareness, which is huge. So hopefully today we find out that, Demar Hamlin has brain function and that he is a viable human being again. Because I think that's all that anybody cares about, is that he lives, he survives, he is able to continue, because it's just such a difficult story.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult thing. It really is. By the way, Mike Maple says, lost service, I sent the wing rules. You sent the wing rules. Let's see. He has 2 rules for wings. They have to have a bone. Well, that means he likes drums, because we all know.
No, flats have bones.
Bones. He said they have to have a bone. Boneless is a chicken nugget. Thank you.
Agreed.
And crispy. Soggy wings are a no-go, and no blue cheese. So 2 rules turned into 3. So he likes drums that are crispy, and he dips them in ranch. See, that's my guy. That's my guy. That is absolutely my guy. Eminem says, like the video. Appreciate you, Eminem. Thank you very much for that. I don't know. You guys, it's interesting to me that we've come to a place in sports now, and I wonder what you guys think about this. we've come to a place in sports now where it seems like we've turned sports into hot take guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why, like, do you guys know who Christopher Mad Dog Russo is? It's why he's on ESPN all the time now. It's Skip and Shannon. It's Screaming A. Smith. Like, I feel like we've turned sports away from thoughtful discussion into hot take show. And I don't understand that.
Right.
Because I think that's what the issue has been with a guy like Skip Bayless. I think Skip Bayless gets so much hate because he's hot take guy. He doesn't have well thought out opinions. And on this show, I think, we really work hard to really have well thought out opinions. Really. I said that word 1,000 times. But the point is, we've worked really hard to have thought out opinions. And I don't think we get that anymore from our go-to sports people. And that's a real problem for me. Mm-hmm. Because when we're talking about something like Demar Hamlin or Brittany Griner or any of these gravitational sports issues, you have to have some deference to that situation and to their families and to the humanity that's involved in those things. I just don't think we do that anymore. And it feels like we're all hot take guy, let's get ratings. And, well, that's cool and everything, but at what point do we go away from hot take guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would require people in the industry to put in an effort and to really try. Like, that's why I think hot take guy's taken over, because it's easy. I mean, I can, hell, anybody listening to this show right now could roll up on the set and be like, Rudy Gobert is better than Donovan, or LeBron sucks, or LeBron's the greatest ever. Like, we can all do that. That doesn't, like, that's not hard to do. I can wake up from a nap and be hot take guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's not difficult to do. And so to me, what ends up happening, and this is just from knowledge of the industry, is you have your producer tell you, all right, this is what we're talking about today, and here's all the stats to back it up, so go ahead and talk about it. And you wind up having some wild-ass opinion about this topic because you weren't prepared to talk about it. And so that's why I think hot take guy has taken off so much. And the other thing is, I don't think hot take guy gets some incredible rating. Yeah, do they get, I think you said they get 500,000 views or whatever on
First Take First Take it averages about 506,000 viewers a day. Unrivaled or whatever.
Disputed.
Why can I not get that name right?
I don't know.
Undisputed with Skip and Shannon does about 204,000 a day. So they do less than half the volume that ESPN does. That's not directly 1v1. Hey, your show sucks. Our show's great. We have double. There's carriage issues and
right.
But with all of the cord cutting, it's amazing that First Take has stayed at that level.
Well, and this is kind of the core conversation, I think, is like whether you're looking at Salt Lake Radio or wherever you are watching this right now, take stock of the radio stations in your town. Like, how many of the radio stations in your town, or let me put it this way, is there even one radio station in your market, right? Like in Salt Lake. Yesterday we're listening to the radio in Salt Lake. Both of the prominent radio stations are playing the Kyle Whittingham press conference from beginning to end without cutting it up. Just
at 4:00 in the afternoon. Afternoon drive in Salt Lake City. Scott Mitchell on The Zone. And Spence Checkett's on ESPN 700. I always go to Spence first. And he is rolling out just a laundry list of we're talking to this guy and this guy and that guy about this guy and this guy and that guy. By the way, here's Kyle Whittingham's press conference. Okay, cool. Let me flip over. I flip over to The Zone, which I almost never do because I'm not a fan of that show at all. And it's Kyle Whittingham's press conference is really important. The words that he said were so meaningful and powerful. Here it is in its entirety. So the only two sports outlets that talk local sports in Salt Lake City are playing the exact same thing at the exact same time. From over 24 hours ago, and everybody's already heard it, and you played it during the rest of the day. Like, it's just, that's why I don't listen to local radio.
And so my point with that is that if you really think about it, like on our show as an example, you notice how we never play like long form press conference in totality. We don't do that to you. We don't like if we're going to play something, it's got to be, Like, there's got to be purpose. There's got to be a reason to play it. And so that's why I say, like, bringing this home, like, you get hot take guy, you get that because it's easy, lazy production. That's why, because all you have to do is come off sounding like you have a really strong opinion, even if that opinion is not well thought out. So that to me is why hot take guy is taken off.
Yep, I agree. The Monty Show is presented by The Advocate.
We got stuck in traffic at a construction zone, and I got rear-ended at 80 miles an hour, so I needed help. They just stepped in and pretty much took care of everything. If you're in a motor vehicle accident or situation, call the Advocates.
TheAdvocates.com. You can chat with an attorney 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at TheAdvocates.com. Let's get some of your comments in here real quick. Let's see. I'm almost feeling shocked about Demar, but I feel surprised when I saw GoFundMe. He got raised up to $5.5 million. So thank you to everyone that prayed for him. Also, Happy New Year. By the way, that GoFundMe is now over $6 million. Demar Hamlin has a local charity, and he was trying to raise $2,500 to give out toys and gifts at the holiday and help kids year-round. He had a $2,500 goal. It's over $6 million now. Over 100,000 people have donated since the incident on the field, which I thought was spectacular. So, job well done. Eminem says, sports talk that is all emotion-based usually shows that do little or no research. I love this show because you guys do prep work and keep it 100. I appreciate that. Thank you. Gabriel says, preach. It sucks what sports shows have become today. It really is disappointing because it doesn't have to be that way. You know, like it is. It just doesn't have to be that way. Greg Romano says, we need to open our windows and shout for all of our neighbors to hear. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
It's my money and I want it now.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Arlington Bears, good morning to you, sir. Skip hot take equals should be fired. Jake hot take equals paranormal activity.
Well, and, you know,
see what I'm saying?
So, like, the door has behaved today. There has been no Monty ghost. The door handle hasn't moved today.
If you missed the show yesterday, we have a door to our studio here at the Maverick Center, and it unlocked itself, and the door handle moved yesterday. And I went back and watched the tape of myself. Dude, I look shocked. Like, it was weird to watch that. And yeah, the door is still locked and the door handle has not moved today. Eminem says SLC Sports Talk is horrible. You guys need to replace them. Well, no, we'll never do the radio. We're never going to do that. D-Rock Irish, what's up? He says it's called laziness.
Yeah.
Alex says Spence is the worst. I don't mind Spence Checketts. I know a lot of people don't like his off the field issues, but I don't mind Spence's show. I know you hate it.
I don't hate his show. It's just too slow for me. Again, I want to be really clear on this. Like, I'm not interested in you guys leaving this conversation feeling like we're hating on all the other radio shows. But if you're asking me what I think of it, I just think it's too slow. I think it's too slow, and I think Spence regurgitates a lot of stuff. And I think it is, frankly, if I'm being honest, it is lazy radio to play the whole presser. We played one clip of it. The most important clip of anything he said.
Yep, I agree. But this is the genesis of this conversation is a guy like Skip Bayless has a place because he has a place. Like he's a guy that's been there for a long time, and so he's just there. And I think it's part of the issue. Like, it's why when Colin Cowherd left ESPN, and I'm a Cowherd guy, I like his show. Again, you much prefer Jim Rome. I wouldn't argue with that. I like Jim Rome's show. But I like Cowherd. But Cowherd doesn't ever give me informed opinions. He gets so many things wrong and just says you would be amazed how many things that Cowherd says that makes Stephen A. Smith look smart. It's to that level. That's the issue that I have with it.
Well, and the thing with Colin that bothers me a lot, and the reason I stopped watching so much is because you don't get, like, to your point, you don't get informed opinion, but you don't really get anything. So let me paint this picture. So let me get this right, Colin. You didn't tweet about the Demar Hamlin thing the night of when it happened, but Jim did, Skip did, right? And a bunch of other people did, like, for better or for worse, right? They all tweeted about it for better or for worse. So you didn't tweet about it. And then I turned on your show yesterday hoping to hear about it because it's your first opportunity. No, I didn't hear about it.
Not a single opinion.
Didn't hear about it. No
it was
opinion.
crazy.
We're just going to talk. We're going to softball it. We're going to talk around it. We're not going to criticize the NFL. We're not going to do anything. We're not like.
And then you flip on Jim Rome.
And what do you get?
You get hard opinion. And you get well-informed hard opinion. And I really appreciated that. He also wants to take phone calls, and they always go off the radio. I hate phone calls on the radio.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just a matter of do your homework. Do you guys understand how much money those guys make? Those guys, Skip Bayless is making north of $10 million
a year.
That's insane. And he routinely does this stuff. Jim Rome is making more than Skip Bayless, and he has earned it. He has a huge following. He's on 200 radio stations. He's on CBS Sports Network. Like, he's earned it. But you look at a guy like a Skip Bayless. He has one job that he's overpaid for, and he won't execute. Frankly, yesterday we spent a lot of time trying to find something to listen to. And there's nothing in sports, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot to listen to. There really isn't. Gabriel says Skip and Shannon are probably over in the future, honestly. If you see Shannon's body language throughout today, you'll see he's uncomfortable being near Skip. It's odd, dude. Like, and that's on the regular. They play characters. Those guys are playing roles.
Right.
And their job is to go, okay, you agree with A? Okay, well, then I have to agree with B. You're up, okay, I'll be down. You're black, I'll be white. Like, they're just polar opposites, right? But it's different now. It's different now. Gabriel, I totally agree with you. Alex says Salt Lake Radio was much better with Sean O'Connell and Kyle Gunther. But again, I think Kyle Gunther needs to be on the radio, but trust me when I say he's not a guy you can work with. I love Gunther's talent. I managed him. I was his program director, and he is impossible to work with. He's impossible. And Sean O'Connell, I think, really hurt himself with that Rudy Gobert
him or me
tweet source thing. And Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, everybody came out and pounded him for it. And where is he gone now? I don't know if Sean's on work somewhere, but I like Sean a lot. I think Sean is a really good person. But it's stuff like that you can't just throw out tweets and be like, oh yeah, hey, that hurts. Mike Maple says Skip and Steven are playing a character, but Skip doesn't turn off the character at home. That's why people can't take him seriously. And again, I will tell you, Stephen A is a really good dude.
Yeah.
He's a really good dude. Whether you like him or not, he's a really good dude. Greg Romano says Eric Casillas is my favorite national sports commentator. Don't know where he is now. Have no idea where he is. Josh Levern says, you think Cowherd didn't touch it because he was told to do so thanks to Skip Bayless? I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I think that Colin is... I think that Fox obviously dictates to these guys what they can and cannot do, right?
And just not to interrupt you, but it's important to note, Fox forced Skip Bayless to tweet apologies. They went to him and said, hey, you need to apologize for what you tweeted. And some people say they asked him to delete that tweet. He would not. But he did, you'll notice, tweet a series of retractions almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was forced to apologize to start his show yesterday without Skip.
Yeah.
Or without Shannon. Right?
Yeah, without Shannon. And then today's events happened with Shannon. And that's why I say, like, I don't know, man. Maybe because I do this every day, I expect too much. Maybe because I do this every day, I want more than what people can offer. But in my heart, I don't believe it's too difficult to do your homework.
Yeah.
Right? It is not like... You guys need to understand, and I want to point this out because this is really the core issue for me personally. The difference between us and everybody else is everyone else is on a salary. Jim Rome has earned it, right? I agree with that. But there are a lot of people in this town who have not earned it, and I have no problem saying that. And we don't get a paycheck, right?
No.
We work for us, and that's the difference, and that's what bothers me. We are putting in 60, 70 hours a week, every single week that we do this show between making money for ourselves, prepping the show, like all the video stuff, like everything that we do is for us. That's it. So when I hear, with all due respect, Spence, when I hear you roll out on your show and you want to play a press conference front to back, I have an issue with that because that tells me You didn't listen to it beforehand, in my opinion, because if you did listen to it, you would know that after he talked about Cam and whether Cam was going to come back, that clip we played yesterday, you would know the rest of the press conference doesn't mean a damn thing.
Nothing.
It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. And that's the issue I have with it. It tells me that you didn't prepare to do your show. You showed up because you do a show.
Well, and truth be told, Spence refers to us as the hacks on YouTube because I think it was a Kyrie Irving trade demand. We had that first. I happened to have a really good friend of mine in the middle of that Kyrie situation who I've known for years professionally. And we got it first just by the luck of the draw. So like I tweeted out that Kyrie was going to demand a trade and he wanted to play for the Lakers. And he started from that day, he's like, I'm not going to believe what the hacks on YouTube say about it. And he was clearly reading our tweet and then said the hacks on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so he refers to us as the hacks on YouTube now. And it's just, which is okay. I'm fine with that, man.
Yeah. Everyone thinks we get all upset by that. And the truth is we don't get upset by it. I just know that I'm in your head because we're dominating this market. When the guys on 1280 are ripping us on their shows, man, you're not breaking me, you're making me. Yeah,
you're not breaking me, dude. You're making me.
100%.
And I think the funny thing is that you're exactly right. We don't draw a paycheck here. We don't. We have to earn every penny we make. We don't get paid on the 15th and the 30th. We don't get paid every other Friday. We get paid when we make money. And that's the difference. That's why I think you see a lot of guys that are comfortable. I think that's a really good point. I agree with that. Josh Lovren says, Jake now with a love Sosa to Spencer. I don't know what a love Sosa is.
I don't know what that means.
Let's see. Greg Romano says, do you remember Papa Joe Chevalier? Yeah. Hey, we were very good friends. We worked together at Sporting News. Today he would say, bite me, Skip Bayless. He would. Papa Joe was one of a kind. One of the best handicappers in the country, by the way, at his time, but he passed away. But Papa Joe, yeah, was great. Man, I'm telling you, when we were at Sporting News Radio in Northbrook, Illinois, back in the day, Peter Brown and Scott Wetzel, like Papa Joe Chevalier, I mean, just power sports talk talent. Power sports talk talent.
But like, that's my point, though. Like, back in that day, it's a great point. Back in that day, you guys worked your ass off to make sure that you were ready and that you were that you were prepared to talk about it. Like, you don't just for those long times that have been following him in his career, like, you don't do a solo show for 3 hours and not be ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what is so unbelievable to me, is that for anybody in the industry, you know what it takes to do a really good show. Jim knows, hey, I've got a process. I've heard Jim talk about that he has a room in his house that is specifically built for him to prep and watch sports and do what he needs to do. And we all have that in some form or fashion. That's what bothers me. That I don't take personally the hacks on YouTube thing
no, not at all.
I don't take any of that personally. I take personally when someone does an injustice to the medium because the listener deserves just a lot more.
Yeah, and I think what most people don't understand is doing this gig is not showing up at, hey, we go on at 6, be here at 5:55 so we can hit go. That's not at all what it is. We got up at 4 a.m. every day. Last night I didn't go to bed till 9:55. Had to finish watching the Jazz game. Had to find football topics that we wanted to talk about, vet those topics. And I got really lucky. Again, I got really lucky because of the guys I was exposed to early in my career. Guys like Jim Rome, guys like Peter Brown, the guys that really worked hard to be prepared. I got really lucky to be at ESPN around a really high bar of expectation. You have to be prepared. And to your point, I used to do 3 hours by myself on Sporting News Radio, East Coast afternoon drive, expectations, right? So you have to be prepared. You'll notice we don't do beat writers on this show. If you listen to local radio, it's in Spence included in this.
Yeah.
We're doing this beat writer, that beat writer, this beat writer. They just put on a bunch of beat writers. And the only people we put on this show generally are athletes or principals. So a general manager, a coach, a player. That's it. We don't do hey, Jimmy the beat writer for BYU or Joe the beat writer for the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. And there's a reason we don't do that. So anyway, my point in all of this is there's you can listen, and I think you can tell this as well. You can turn on the radio. You can turn on TV and watch guys talk sports. You know who's ready, you know who's prepared, and you know who's not. I can tell you right now that Jim Rome, I used to produce his show at Fox Sports. The Last Word with Jim Rome. Jim Rome spends 12 or 15 hours a day working. Not doing his show like he used to do 4 hours on the radio. He would drive over from the radio studio to the TV lot in Hollywood. We would do 90 minutes of prep before the show. We would do the show. It would take generally 2 hours to tape the show. And then we would sit around for another 90 minutes, talk about topics. Then we would all we had these Timeport pager text machine things.
Yeah.
We would all be texting all night about, hey, who's this guy? Like Jim would text, like Bo Jackson's the best example I give. When we have Bo Jackson on the show, him and I would either get on the phone or text back and forth about, hey, what is Bo doing here? Because we would pre-interview every guest. So if I had Bo Jackson on, I would spend 20 minutes on the phone with him saying, hey, XYZ, what about this? What about that? How about this? And then I would talk to Jim about, hey, here's what where Bo Jackson is on this. Here's where he is on that. Here's what he's on promoting. Those are hours and hours and hours. Jim Rome puts himself in a compound at his house. Do you think that his wife and his kids are in the compound with him while he's prepping? No. You're working. You're working. And it's why I'm so lucky. And we talk about marriage and having a good wife and a support system. My wife allows me to watch Jazz basketball every single night and does not complain about it. My wife on Monday afternoon is watching the Rose Bowl. First of all, she's watching USC and Tulane into the Rose Bowl. Like it's craziness into Monday Night Football, and then Demar Hamlin happens. Is that going out to dinner? Is that just spending time quietly talking at night? Like, no, it's working.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. So you hear the people who don't prepare versus the people who do. A couple more on this. Greg Morano says, my least favorite sportscasters of all time are Vic the Brick Jacobs. Vic the Brick he was a really good dude. I've worked in too many places. Extra Sports in Los Angeles. Vic and I worked together. He's a good dude. Good dude. And angry man, Keith Olbermann. Quick story on Keith Olbermann. When I was producing Jim Rome's show at Fox, Keith Olbermann used to do the news. So he would do it was called the National Sports Report.
Right.
It was Sports Center on Fox at the time.
Yeah.
Keith Olbermann, it was a big deal. Fox hired Keith away from ESPN. When Keith Olbermann would walk in, we were in a huge room with a bunch of cubicles, and all the outside walls were offices. And when you walked in the door, it was the Jim Rome suite. So you walked in, there were a bunch of offices. All his executive producers had their own offices. Me, Danny Schwartz, Laura Marcus, we had our cubicles right there. And then Jim's office was at the end. We had to walk by all of that to get to Keith Olbermann's area. We were not allowed to look at Keith Olbermann. We were told by the guys at Fox, Keith does not want you looking at him. When Keith Olbermann walks in, please look away. That's the kind of dude that Keith Olbermann is. Just a weird, strange guy.
Yeah.
Weird, strange guy. DJ and PK on 1280 never do research. I don't know. I haven't heard their show in a very long time. I mean, those guys have been on the air here for how long? Those guys are legends in this town. Eminem says, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Absolutely right. It's absolutely right. There's no doubt. Gabriel, I noticed throughout the years that more people tune into shows that are real. What you guys are doing will benefit you guys in the future. Appreciate watching you guys every day. I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that, bro.
Appreciate that. Make sure all 129 of you right now watching the show, give us a like. Hit the thumbs up button. We're at 69. We love to get to 100 by the time we end the show. We've got 30 minutes. We need 31 likes. So let's get to work on it. Olbermann is a hack. Dude just yells at people that don't agree with him. Keith Olbermann's wildly talented.
Yeah.
He's Kyle Gunther. He's wildly talented. He can't control his emotions.
Yeah.
That's Keith Olbermann. That's the problem. Is Olbermann still on TV or radio? I haven't heard from him lately. I think he's doing news. Somewhere he's doing an opinion show, and I think he's got I don't, you know what? That's a good question. What's up, Tanner, by the way? Good to see you. That's a good question. I don't know. Josh Lovern says, this job for you is a passion project that you guys are making a living off of. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was a choice, man. We were talking about it the other day. For those of you who don't know, we used to work at Yelp full time, selling local ads to businesses. Dude, I made stacks at that job. We both did really well. We left that job, and it's sometimes you're like, did I do the right thing? Eminem says KO is doing the news at MSNBC. There you go. Keith Oberman is doing the news at MSNBC. I wonder if he's ever been to a barbecue pit stop in Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and Murray. Was that okay?
Yeah, it was all right.
You can also shop online at barbecuepitstop.com. You guys, again, I just can't tell you, when you go to our local sponsors, when you support them, you support the show. So we appreciate you, getting online, shopping at Barbecue Pit Stop. Get the Asado seasoning. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Get the Traeger Ironwood 885. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show, because I can tell you, I'm a Traeger guy, man, and I'm a pellet smoking guy. And we back it up. We make our pizzas on the Traeger. We smoke briskets. We do steaks, chops, wings on the Traeger.
Yep.
And it's spectacular. And the reason that we chose to spend our money with Barbecue Pit Stop is because those are great local businesses. They've supported the show back to our days at 1320K Fan.
The sports leader.
I mean, they're just amazing guys to do business with. So make sure you tell Barbecue Pit Stop at bbqpitstop.com. You heard about it on the Monty Show. And I'm telling, they're just great guys to do business with. Why are you using charcoal briquettes? Why are you using propane? There's no reason for it. It's so much easier to use a pellet smoker. It's not complicated. It's not hard. Don't be intimidated.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's super easy. Find out online, bbqpitstop.com. One thing real quick that I want to talk about is this situation with Cam Rising. Because sources close to the Ute program were telling us yesterday, we had 3 people confirm to us that Cam tore his ACL, and there is fear that he has significant damage inside the knee related to that, and that he is going to require surgery, and it's likely 9 to 12 months of recovery. So if you do the math on that, is Cam Rising going to be available for fall camp? Because I think now it's an afterthought that he's coming back to Utah. I don't know how you would go pro there. But the one thing is, damn, you feel terrible for Cam Rising, because no matter what you think of Cam or the Utes, Cam's given everything he's had to that football team and that program and his teammates, and he has just dealt with this knee all year long. And really, it's been throughout his career he's had a knee issue. But the other thing you realize is, I don't know that it's necessarily a good thing that Cam Rising comes back to Utah. Jake, do you think it's good that Cam Rising comes back?
Yeah, probably not. I think that, I mean, when he comes back, because I don't think it's if. I do believe in my heart it's when he comes back at this point, because you don't sustain a 12-month knee injury caliber injury and go to the NFL. That's just not how the process works. Nobody does it that way. So when he comes back, in my opinion, I think, is it good in a sense that, hey, you have reliability on some level at quarterback? Yeah, I mean, he knows the system. He's going to handle the offense. Great. Cool. You don't have a newbie at quarterback.
Sure. Yep.
But the problem is the knee injury. Is even after the injury and the rehab and everything, he's still got the knee. And unfortunately, athletics is a, what have you done for me lately? Best ability is availability, right? So to me, is it good? Kind of, but really it's more of an anxiety thing. It's more of a hesitation thing. It's more of a, hey, yeah, Cam, when you used to run for 12 yards and get us that first down in the clutch, man, when you're on a rehab knee, maybe that's only 8 and you fell short. That's what I worry about. And to me, he had worn the knee brace in certain games this past season. He was not wearing it when he sustained this knee injury, from what I could tell. And he put it back on after he got undressed and put his street clothes on. So to me, it's a frustrating conundrum. But if we set Cam aside and we get back to that conversation we had yesterday about Kyle Whittingham, even if Cam does come back, it doesn't change your future, right? If you think about it.
Yeah.
Because the Rose Bowl has changed now with college football playoff expansion and how all
this
that's
was
changing.
the last year that the Rose Bowl was the Rose Bowl.
And so now it's it feels like, hey, when I hear Whit yesterday in that clip we played talking about how, hey, will Cam come back? Will he not come back? I hope he comes back. It's cool if he comes back, The problem is that you've lost your chance now.
Yeah.
Like, you're still, to me, if he comes back, you're still a New Year's Six team for sure. But there's no telling if you're going to get that bowl game or not. So I don't know. Is it good? I guess. But what's good, honestly, what I would love to see is for them to get real active in recruiting in NIL and bring in another talent. That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you have, it sucks for Cam. That's what comes to my mind. Like he is a guy that, you know how hard it is to be a starting quarterback in the Pac-12? Like, I mean, it just takes so much work.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about Utah. I am really worried that they're going to have a Rose Bowl hangover. I don't know how you avoid it. I don't. Legacies and careers were damaged with that loss. There's no doubt about that. To not be able to call yourself a Rose Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Not having that on Kyle Whittingham's resume. It's cool that you won the conference championship, and I'm sure that they will celebrate that, and I'm sure that, I think we heard somebody talking about them getting conference championship rings. Cool. You didn't win the Rose Bowl. And that's the reality of sports. Right, wrong, whatever. You didn't win the Rose Bowl. And I don't know how you get away from that without having some kind of hangover. And I have real fear that the Utah Utes program is going to suffer with this news. And a couple of the guys I was talking to about this yesterday said that there is a real dark cloud. It's heavy around Utah after that loss. And I totally understand that. Now it's on Kyle Whittingham to change that. It's on Kyle Whittingham to bring the sun out at Utah.
We built this program on NIL.
I think you're going to have to go out and get guys. And it's what we talked about yesterday, and I only bring it back up today because I think it's a really interesting question about Kyle Whittingham. Are you, Kyle Whittingham, willing to completely change the identity of your offense to get back to winning at the highest level? And is the Utah football program a college football playoff contender? I'm here to tell you it is. I believe in Kyle Whittingham. I believe in his coaching staff, even though, again, I've heard repeatedly there's going to be changes on the offensive side of the football in the coaching ranks. We'll see about that. But I believe that Kyle Whittingham can do it. But he's got to have the intestinal fortitude and the courage at this stage of his career, at his age, to change the identity of that offense. Because if you're not willing to be a dynamic passing attack, you're not going to really, what's the right way to say it? You're not going to attract dynamic talent.
Facts.
Because you're not going to go to Utah if you're the hottest quarterback in the country. Are you going to, is Arch Manning ever looking at Utah? Because he's the number one quarterback recruit in the country. Arch Manning, is he ever looking at Utah? Throw out the fact he went to Texas and he was probably always going to Texas.
Yeah.
Was he ever going to consider Utah? No, because quarterbacks don't go to Utah.
Obviously not.
Right? So now you got to change your identity to become something that you've never been in this illustrious, unbelievably successful career filled with accolades and achievements with Kyle Whittingham. We're asking you now to change and do something you've never done and be something you've never been, which is a dynamic, explosive offense. And can he do that? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know if he can do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to get back to the Rose Bowl, you're going to have to make the college football playoff heretofore. Because there is no, hey, well, it's cool. Let's match up the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Those days are done. Now it's over. You got to, next year, I believe the Rose Bowl is the semifinal in the college football playoff. And after that, with this contract negotiation they just went through, now they're going to be a significant game.
Yeah.
Game change. This is a huge loss for Utah.
Yeah.
Huge loss for Utah. All right, let's get some of your comments in here. See what you guys have to say. Josh says, can Utah change their stripes to dots? I don't think so. I don't think so.
They can. They can. They physically can.
Will they?
Will they? I don't think so.
Dallin Sproul says, Utes will suffer big time because they haven't won the Rose Bowl. They need more depth. They do. They do. They missed Clark Phillips so badly in that game.
Yep.
I think the outcome of that game, I mean, outside of the fact that you got blowed up on that run, on that big run for that touchdown, you just got beat physically on that play. The throws over the top don't happen if Clark Phillips is there. I just don't buy it. I mean, When Clark is there, you can play half the field. You're not going to throw at him routinely. Sean Clifford ain't that guy.
Yeah.
The quarterback at Penn State, he ain't that guy.
He knows what's good for him.
So in my opinion, if Clark Phillips is there, that's a different story. But he wasn't there. And it's a different story. And they lost the Rose Bowl. It sucks. It sucks. But they lost the Rose Bowl. Rhett Williams, I think they will be okay even after the loss, the Rose Bowl loss. Cam went out and Barnes showed he ain't it. Back-to-back Pac-12 champs is still a huge accomplishment. Oh, my God, yes.
But it is. I agree. I agree that back-to-back is totally a huge accomplishment, 100%. But I think, as we discussed, that's not good enough anymore.
No.
That's not good enough.
Isn't that the reality of college football now,
like,
though?
It is. Like, again, it's like whoever you want to look at in sports, like it's not good enough for Lewis Hamilton not to win an F1 championship.
But this is Alabama.
This is Alabama.
This is
exactly.
what we talk
Perfect
about with
example.
Alabama all the time. Alabama is disappointed in their season because they did make the college football playoff. Do you guys understand that did they lose 2 games by 4, whatever it was?
And I think what was their? what was it? Tennessee and
LSU.
And LSU,
and they lost to LSU on a fluke play at the end of the game that they went for 2 instead of kicking the extra point, and they lost that game. And they're finished 11-2. They finished second in the SEC West, and they're disappointed.
Yeah. Yep.
And my point is that should be the bar every single year. Every single year. And so whether it's Keaton Slovis at BYU, if you're a BYU fan today, you should be disappointed that Keaton Slovis is your quarterback. Right? Yeah. If you're Utah, with all due respect, you should be devastated that you lost the Rose Bowl 2 years in a row because the Pac-12 championship is fantastic. It ain't good enough.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. And it's hard in the state of Utah. I don't know that we view ourselves as the best of the best, the creme de la creme. I think we have a perception versus reality problem. Because I'm here to tell you, Utah should be playing for a national championship. And I had an argument on Twitter with a guy the other day about whether Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. You know what he's not? Because perception's reality. Nobody knows who Kyle Whittingham is. And that might be strong to say nobody knows. Nobody respects what Kyle Whittingham has done.
Not enough people know or
because
respect it.
The people who matter don't know the details of the pilgrimage. They don't know the fight. They don't know the accomplishments. And I say the same thing at BYU. BYU fans were elated over Keaton Slovis. Why? He's flamed out at USC and Pitt, and you're excited about that kid. That's not how you win national championships. That's not how you compete for the top of the pack, or the Pac-12 or the Big 12. The problem is you should have been excited about Cade Fennegan. You should have been excited about all of these quarterbacks that never got a shot. Jacob Conover, and I know that BYU fans disagree with me on this. Jacob Conover never got a shot to show what he could do, and now he's at Arizona State. Why is Drew Pine not at Notre Dame? Drew Pine won the quarterback job. Because they went to Drew Pine and they said, hey, Drew, great job this season. We're going to make you compete for your gig. We're going to give your backup a shot to beat you out again.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to bring in a veteran out of the transfer portal to try and beat you out. His answer was, nah, I'm good. I'm going to transfer.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
And he wanted to go to BYU. And fans were like, oh, Drew Pine. Drew Pine's average. Drew Pine's not something you're excited about. Keaton Slovis is not something you're excited about. Those are 2 guys who didn't want to fight for their job.
God bless.
Who were given shots to be the #1 quarterback at USC and got beat by a true freshman in Jackson Dart.
You know what that's like these days?
That's Keaton Slovis.
Yeah, good luck.
Keaton Slovis, the guy who's an inaccurate passer on the move and has never fixed that. That's your starting quarterback now.
Yeah.
We have to, until we get our minds right, and we start telling ourselves that the Utah Jazz should be competing for an NBA championship year in and year out because we have a billionaire owner and the expectation's really high. So if you're upset they traded Rudy Gobert, if you're upset that they traded Donovan Mitchell, we can have that conversation. But you better understand the expectation should be championship. If you're at BYU and you're not upset about Keaton Slovis, you have the wrong expectations. If you're at Utah and you're not a little disappointed that Cam's coming back, you got the wrong expectations. Do you view yourself as a major market ass-kicking contender or not?
Yeah.
Because, again, let me show you a guy that I know really well. You guys remember Lendale White? Who remembers Lendale White? Lendale. He was the Thunder at USC to Reggie Bush's Lightning. He was Pete Carroll's workhorse back. So Lendale is a guy that is a diehard USC alum and a diehard fan. Clearly watching the Tulane game against USC in the Cotton Bowl, because look what he tweeted. This is Lendale White, a prominent USC alum and booster.
Yeah.
Who tweeted directly at Lincoln Riley. That bend don't break defense crap you brought from OU ain't gonna cut it.
Facts.
That's an alum. That's Lendale from the best ever teams at USC telling Lincoln Riley in no uncertain terms, bro, you need defense, and we expect you to go and get it. I'm sorry, who's the Utah alum doing that? Who's the BYU alum holding the football program accountable?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Who is it? I don't know. And you know who it used to be? It used to be John Manson. John Manson, the maker of men. Trained football players, pipeline to the U. Moved to Scottsdale, nobody filled the gap. Where is it? Where is Scott Mitchell? Oh, he's on the radio and nobody hears him. Nobody cares. Who's your most prominent alum? Jamal Anderson, a guy I would call a friend of mine, the running back. Loves, passionate Utah fan. Not a guy that's going to call somebody out, though, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Utah alum today saying we got to be better on offense? Where's the Utah alum today? Where's the booster? Where's the guy that gives a damn saying Kyle Whittingham, this dink and dunk offense is not good enough anymore? Where is it? I don't know. Where's Drez? Where's Kenny Scott? Where's Alex Smith? Is Alex Smith tweeting at the U?
No.
Isaac Asiata, a local policeman. He's not going to tweet at the U. He's still involved in the program. Who's got the balls to do it? Who's got the balls to do it?
Program.
Because I don't see it.
Yeah.
But I see Lendale. I see Lendale White going after Lincoln Riley. This bend don't break shit you brought from OU ain't good enough.
Well.
You guys, do you see how amazing that is?
And that's how I look at it.
Do you see how amazing that is?
Yes.
What if somebody tweeted? What if Kenny Scott tweeted? What if Alex Smith, because I think Alex Smith is one of the most prominent Utah alums. What if Alex Smith tweeted at Kyle Whittingham and said, hey, man, hey, time to go get a real quarterback.
Knock, knock, knock. Hey. You ever heard of NIL? You ever heard of the transfer portal? It's time to get going.
Who's doing that?
Oh, no, that's right. In this town, we just want to say Kyle's the best ever. And
what if Jamal Anderson had tweeted at Tavion Thomas that this, whatever this was this year where you were not present, isn't good enough? Like, we need that in this town. We're all so scared of the church. Shh. Don't say that about BYU.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Can somebody call Peyton Wilger's wife? Tell her to delete that Instagram post. Holy crap.
I'm not afraid to die.
We can't do that here. We don't call people out.
But no one's going to disrespect me.
God is watching.
When I die, I'm going to paradise.
Why are we not calling people out?
The church is listening.
Hey, cool, man, but we're not winning football games. We're not winning basketball games. When is somebody going to say something about the Utah basketball program?
It's ridiculous.
When is somebody going to say it's not good enough that both Utah and BYU pretty regularly miss the NCAA tournament? Hey, hello?
Is this thing on? Jesus.
Are you serious? Like, that's what we're missing. We're missing the mentality of I'm kicking your ass and it's not good enough.
Catch me outside. How about that?
By the way, at BYU, did anybody see that the founder of New Skin passed away in a plane crash the other day? Anybody see that? And it's huge news. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. I just don't. I want to understand. I want to understand why we won't hold Ryan Smith accountable for not having a TV deal. I want to understand why nobody will hold Kyle Whittingham accountable for never having a dynamic, best-in-class quarterback in offense. I want to understand why Kalani was allowed to have one of his best friends be a crappy defensive coordinator for so long. No, but where's Brigham saying, hey, it's not good enough anymore.
Hey, Max, buddy, it's not good enough to miss all those tackles against Oregon.
Hey, it's not good enough that we keep having guys hurt for the rest of the year. Hey, it's not, and it's not even Max Tooley. I'm talking about where is Kyle Vinoy? Where is Fred Warner? Saying, hey, this isn't who BYU defense was when I was there. Where's Danny Sorensen? Hey, by the way, this isn't good defense. Where is that? Where is the state of Utah alum giving me Lendale White? Who's going to be Utah and BYU's Lendale White? Who's going to be the Utah Jazz's Lendale White? Who's it going to be? Because I'm telling you right now, it's not good enough. Fans don't matter. We're meaningless. Fans don't matter. We sit here every day. We're the biggest talk show in Utah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know who matters? The guys who wore the uniform, the guy who wore the helmet, the guy who wore the Y on his hat. That's who matters. The guy who wore the note on his chest. Where's Karl Malone criticizing the Jazz? Where is it? Where's John Stockton? Where's Antoine Carr? Where's Jeff? Oh, he works for the team. Right? We don't hold anybody accountable in this town.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me crazy.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy.
No, you're not wrong.
Eric in Raleigh says, because sports aren't the first or second concern in Utah. Well, that's probably true. Well, hey, great example. Tanner Plummer, Brian Keel. Brian Keel's a guy that I love a lot. Like, I respect the heck out of that guy. I was fortunate enough to do some shows with him back in the day at The Sports Leader. Brian Keel called out BYU a lot, too. I don't disagree with that. Riley O'Brien says, Alex Smith needs to tell him this ain't how we run the program.
Well,
exactly right.
But who will?
Program. I'm sorry, Ryan Hancock? Isn't that an insurance guy? Ryan Hancock, give me your Ryan Hancock. Calls out the program when things go to crap. I
need an example of that.
Yeah, I don't know that he does it. Talking with Raphael podcast. How's the baby, Raphael? How can we hold Ryan Smith accountable for a TV deal? We need somebody to talk about it. We need a former Jazz man. The problem is there's nobody in a prominent position in television or radio who, like Gordon Monson, got his nuts clipped. He's meaningless anymore. Like, who's going to do that? Are you telling me anybody that works for the Zone's going to do that? Does anybody listen to Bill Riley? Do you think he would do that? No. Nobody listens to Spence. Do you think he would do that? No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I mean, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to get crushed by it, does it matter? No. No.
How can you do it, though? You can tweet at him. Ryan Smith's Twitter account's public. Tweet at him. State of Utah sports motto should be, we are good enough to keep most happy. Truth. That's not what it should be. That's what it is.
Wait, what? Eric in Raleigh says, Fred Warner left college. Lendale White is stuck in college because he hasn't progressed. What are you talking about? Lendale White played in the NFL, my man. Lendale White's amazing. I should try to get him on the show. I know Lendale a little bit. He tweeted with me about this last night. And he's just a good dude. He is passionate about USC football, though. And I guess that's the word that I want to use. Like, who's passionate about defending Utah sports? I can't think of anybody. And again, I think part of this is a hangover because I grew up in Chicago. I worked in LA.
But again, what's the difference in those towns, though?
They're major market.
Well, no. Yes. But the difference is that because they're major market, the crux of the issue, the balls of the issue in this town is everyone's owned by someone. It's all incestuous. There's no independence, which is why we dominate here, which is why we are the biggest sports talk show in Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's true. Philo Carter says nobody wants to hear from John Stockton anymore. Well,
where's Darren Williams?
After the whole, he did kind of. After, Quint Randall says, I've not seen anywhere he was a founder of Nu Skin. I saw he was a top seller. I thought he was
It's fine.
What? Nu Skin, this Nu Skin thing's a big deal. This Nu Skin thing is a big, they're major supporters at BYU. Nathan Ricks. Ricks, a Utah entrepreneur, businessman, and largest distributor in the history of Nu Skin Enterprises. He, any way you put it, he is a huge name in this community. It's a terrible loss, by the way. Terrible loss. Josh Levert says Steve Smith, Stockton, and Steve Young need to be outspoken. Steve Smith absolutely needs to be outspoken. The Lendale White tweet coverage news is why I get up early to listen into an out-of-state truth and sports talk show. Keep it up, guys. Biggest sports talk in NorCal as far as I'm concerned. Appreciate that. I do miss my time. We drove through Sacramento last week on our way up to Tahoe. Man, I miss living in Sacramento. I loved that town. I loved living there. I really did. Gabriel says, it's interesting to see how BYU will adjust to the Big 12 because by default, they have to step up their football and basketball program.
Right.
Yeah, they do. That's a really good point. That is a really good point. Carter says, give me the D. Will every day.
Yeah.
Seriously. Rhett Williams says, I saw the top seller 2 on KSL. Oh, okay. Maybe I was wrong.
Even if he is, though, you might as well still own the company. If you're a top seller, you still have all the power.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. He was a huge supporter of theirs.
Yeah.
He's entrepreneur is not the right word. That guy has made more money that guy's lost more money than I'll ever make. Is that the right way to say that?
Sure.
Let's see. Greg Romano says the problem is Blaine Fowler, Dave McCann, Greg Wrubell, Tom Homo, Kalani, and others are friends and serve in the church together.
That's what I mean. It's all incestuous. They all... not that I'm criticizing them for being friends, but if we're having a conversation about, hey, why isn't, this program or that program or this team or that team being held accountable for this or that, that's why, because they're all friends. They're not going to speak poorly about each other, and that's the issue. So when we're talking about major markets, it's not just that more people live, in the county of LA than live in the state of Utah. The difference is that there's independence there. There is, hey, I'm coming after you there if you're not going to do a TV deal.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Talking with Raphael. It says, I'll be honest and say this is the only Utah sports channel I listen to. Baby is great. She's sleeping and has already pee, poop, and spit on me multiple occasions.
There you go.
How's that dad life treating you, bro? I hope good. Josh Lovern says Folsom greater than Sacramento. Well, I used to work at the Chili's Bar and Grill in Folsom. Great outlet mall there. I can tell you that. The Monty Ghost is back. Is the door?
Let's go.
The door is still locked.
Yeah.
I clicked the like button. I better get the next giveaway. I'm saying 84. You guys, we've got 5 minutes left in the show.
Come on,
we
let's
need
go.
16.
Let's go.
We've had 1,500 views on this show today, and we've only got 84 likes. Are we terrible? Where is Fasenko holding the Jazz account? Fasenko. How about that name?
Hell no.
Guys, Top G for sure. Not going to prove anyone wrong. Okay. Utah sports media is problematic. It is. Salty Drunk says, do you guys ever praise any franchise in Utah? Oh, the Grizzlies excluded. No, the issue is not praising or not praising. I think we praise BYU all the time because they did an amazing job with their coaching staff. I think we praise Kyle Whittingham all the time.
We just sat here and say Kyle Whittingham was the best coach in the history of sport in Utah.
Yeah, I think, yeah. If you are looking for universal praise, this probably is not the show. Justin Salas says, good morning, casuals. I have an interview for manager position this morning. Wish me luck. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, my guy. Go get it, Justin Salas.
Good luck.
Good luck. Eric and Raleigh, AK-47 to hold Jazz accountable. Exactly right.
Well.
Exactly right. 9 o'clock on the Monty Show. Presented by our good friends at Quack Car Wash, our non-sports stores of the day. It's National Spaghetti Day, and if your kid spilled spaghetti on their car, go to Quack Car Wash because I love the guys at Quack. It's fast, it's efficient. You're in and out of there in 5 minutes because you don't have to work with a machine. You don't stick your card into. The worst thing in the world is those little towers, and the coolest thing is Quack bought a car wash and remodeled it in the district in South Jordan on 114th. And now you get to deal with a human. It used to be you had to stick your card in a computer, and it never worked right. It was terrible. Now the guy just walks up to your car, puts your license plate in. He knows I have a wash pass. He says, "Hey, thanks, Monty. Here's your dashboard wipe." I mean, it's great service. 5 minutes, incredibly cost effective. Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you tell me you heard about it on the Monty Show. Okay. Now, before we get out of here, I want you guys to understand that it's okay if you want to choke Jake out today, because that's how I feel regularly. When we talk about these important topics like National Pasta Day, you need to understand that Jake is an uneducated millennial.
Right, I'm stupid. We get it. We get it.
You're lazy, unattractive, all the things I always tell people about you.
Right, yeah.
It's National Pasta Day.
Right.
So routinely, I don't eat pasta, but when we do, I'll be like, "Hey, what kind of sauce you want? You want mushroom sauce? Well, how about butter?" Jake will say, "Guy, no, seriously, well, I mean, you can get red sauce and I'll just put butter on mine." Okay. "Hey, mac and cheese, can you get the elbows for me?" "Well, this one over here, the Annie's with the shells." Macaroni and cheese is for elbows.
Can you do something for me?
It's elbows. It's not macaroni and shells.
Right, but shells are macaroni.
No, they're not. They're shells.
Yes, they are.
There's, again, this is what I'm talking about. Mac and cheese is elbows. Okay? No. And then when we talk about pasta, there's one pasta. It's penne. It's not, "Oh, well, hey, man, why don't we just go ahead and get some farfagaligi?" You mean bow tie? Yeah, same thing. No, because men don't eat bow tie.
What?
Okay. Now, if you want to do rigatoni, okay, that's a different thing. But if we're going to the grocery store,
what about cavatappi or peachy?
How about you stop blaspheming pasta?
Mastacholi.
Mastacholi is penne.
Orzo.
Yeah, orzo sucks.
Cannelloni.
Do you know what cannelloni is?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's beef-filled tubes. You know all about that.
Beef-filled tubes. Let's
baby.
Go.
But no, seriously. Jake has dysfunction with his pasta.
Dude, I don't. I like my pasta a certain type of way, and that's just what it is.
You're making me feel a certain type of way.
Yeah,
Pasta, in my opinion, if we're going to the store, it's whole wheat, penne pasta with 4 cheese sauce.
It's probably different than what you're thinking, though.
Little mozzarella on top. Little parsley on top, get some Texas toast. Now we're talking pasta. If we're talking macaroni and cheese, which is also pasta, it's elbows. Okay. If we're talking turkey pasta, it's elbows with turkey.
Why does it matter so much what shape the pasta's in for you?
Because as men, we do things the right way.
Right.
Which is why you don't do things the right way.
Right.
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste.
Right.
I actually don't mind butter pasta, but that's all you will eat.
Yeah, that's what I like. I want butter and I want garlic salt.
Again, hey man, can I get some butter pasta and some flats, please?
Please.
Hey, how about this? Can we get some string spaghetti?
Sketty.
And actually, if we could do, the O's, what do they call them? Chef Boyardee cock knob in a can?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out.
Can we do some Chef Boyardee's nuts in a can?
Well.
That's you.
Well.
Now, hey man, I would like some manicotti, please. Okay.
Hey, guys.
Do you want, how many orders? Well, what do you mean? Manicotti and cheese, like the elbow. Look at oh, you mean macaroni and cheese. No, manicotti is.
Donnie,
you
please.
don't even know pasta. Manicotti is the best thing in the world.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Favorite pasta?
That's a tough one. Rigatoni.
And from all my Arizona friends, the Big Rig pasta at Oregano's.
Clutch up.
Please, God.
So good, dude. It is so over the top good.
The Big Rig pasta. I cannot wait for spring training because we're going to be in Arizona for 2 weeks. Doing shows at spring training. To go to Oregano's and get the Big Rig pasta.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it. It moved a little bit.
Did it?
I'm ready.
Really?
I'm ready.
Oh, my God, just like that. Oh.
Tanner wants to know, Jake, do you put blue cheese on your pasta?
Don't be ridiculous now, Tanner. Come on now.
Yes, see? San Diego State says manicotti. Thank you. Josh Levering says penne to replace spaghetti noodles for spaghetti. That's exactly right.
You know.
That's exactly right. San Diego State says, I said earlier, I've been here 5 minutes and have assaulted the like button. I did the crime today and have gladly done the time here.
Yes.
Thank you. Come on, man. We're at 95 likes.
Come on, five to go
more.
here. Let's go.
5 more likes.
Go.
Let's go. Brother says, homemade Alfredo pasta with shrimp is so good, just like in Italy. Bon appetit.
Yeah.
Dude, we had, my wife, by the way, yesterday made vegetable rice, and I had some ground chicken and put barbecue. Oh,
bomb, dude. It's bomb.
It is so good. Raphael says bow tie pasta is good.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
Tanner says I love bow tie pasta. No,
Yes,
you don't. You
you
just
do.
don't know that it's bad. You don't know that it's bad. Let's see. Tanner says, oh, dang, Jake. First there was Zion's Park incident, and now this. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, you know what?
That's what I'm
it is.
saying. Gumby too sexy says fat.
Yeah, dude. 100%, bro.
Ryan P says Jake has the palate of a 10-year-old.
That's right. I am not sophisticated. I want my PB&J. I want my mac and cheese with taco meat
so
turkey.
You. I
want my butter noodles.
Hey man, can I get my Uncrustables?
So get your facts straight.
What was your favorite food as a kid?
SpaghettiOs.
Was it really?
Yeah, I love SpaghettiOs. Big fan.
I think mine was Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets, and then in high school, good old Round Lake Beach High School shithole. My favorite food was a pizza puff. And that's where my ranch addiction started. They had these pizza puffs at my high school cafeteria.
And you needed to have the ranch to cool it off. That's the thing.
Dude, so good. And then my friend Jeff would bring like these, those little paper cups that you would get for sauce or ketchup. Jeff Murray, the late, great Jeff Murray, would bring like 5 or 10 cups of mayonnaise and 2 large orders of fries. I was responsible for getting 2 pizza puff and the ranch dressing. He'd get the French fries and the mayonnaise, and we would just go to town.
Yeah.
And then we go to basketball practice. It was amazing.
Let's settle this right now.
It was amazing. I am telling you.
Yeah.
That in this brand right here, Entenmann's.
So
oh
good.
my
Dude,
God.
the old-fashioned donut from them is incredible. Absolutely. We may have to do a short on this today. We might do a YouTube short on Entenmann's because that's just too good.
I'm telling you, the raspberry coffee cake from Entenmann's, just give me a fork. Don't even. I'll use my hands.
Dude.
There was an incident as a kid. I'm fat. I should not tell this story. My mother, who is a demon. My mother was a once-a-week grocery shopper.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom would go to the store like on Saturday mornings and shop for the entire week when I was in like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to buy, remember the generic sodas?
Yeah.
Generic orange, generic strawberry, generic my butt. Like it was just generic soda everywhere.
Right.
But the one thing she splurged on was Entenmann's raspberry coffee cake.
Yeah.
So I got home from school one day and I was playing Super Mario Bros.
No.
Me and Brent Sikorsky, my friend across the street. Good old Brent Sikorsky. We're on the Nintendo machine.
Yeah.
Playing Super Mario Brothers. I finished off half a bottle of orange soda and I ate an entire Entenmann's raspberry coffee cake.
God.
The beating that I took for that. She was so mad. She was so mad. And at the time, I worked at, I want to say Taco Bell. I worked at some fast food joint. I don't even remember. And we got paid like 2 days later. And I just remember taking my paycheck and going to the Jewel food store and getting like 3 of those raspberry coffee cakes. And I set them on her bed. And when she got home from work, she walked into my room and I was laying on my bed doing something. I don't remember what. She walked into my room and threw them at me. It was amazing.
Suckmyass.com.
It was amazing. That was amazing.
Love it.
I ate it. Oh my God. I was so good at Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
What did you eat after school? Like, what was your thing? Did you have a
No, because I was never home like right after school. I always had practice.
But see, we got out at 2:00.
Oh, I wasn't. Nah, dude, I was 3:30.
And especially when I was still riding my bike back and forth to school, we got out at 2:00. I'd ride my bike, go home. Man, when I lived oh my God, I remember Stevenson High School, there was a hot dog stand like down the street and then a McDonald's. I worked at the McDonald's right there in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
And we used to ride our bikes and we get free chicken nuggets and fries from our coworkers at McDonald's.
Right.
Go across the street and get 2 Chicago-style hot dogs, ride our bikes back to the crib, and just pound those chicken nuggets and play Mario Brothers.
Yeah, dude.
Like, amazing. I loved my Nintendo.
My favorite food is chicken tendies and fries.
Lewis says, hell yeah, old school Nintendo was great. Love Duck Hunt. Oh, we had Duck Hunt.
Was incredible.
We had Duck Hunt. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, yes. Brother said, what did you do, Monty? Yeah, seriously. Mike Phillips says the Nintendo machine was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Matt Ritson says burger time and beer tapping on Nintendo games. Seriously. Does anybody remember the Atari? Oh, I had Atari. That was the first video game console my a-hole brother ever broke. Like, we used to play, I was super young, but we used to play that ping pong game on Atari. Remember the slider?
Oh, yeah.
I just remembered, like, they had those corded controllers, and if I remember right, it was like a rectangle with a circle controller thing. My brother threw that thing so hard at the entertainment center and broke it in half.
Wow.
Oh, man. San Diego State says Entenmann's buttermilk old fashioned are frauds, nasty as hell. I'm not an Entenmann's donut guy though. I'm not. Matt Ritson says Dutch crunch bread and ranch dipping. Everything's better. Jake Gordon says it's okay. Jake, PB&J mac and cheese with dinosaur nuggets are so good. Don't let Monty bully you.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, you know how, tell me you're a dad without telling me you're a dad. That or tell me that you are still an adolescent because you like dinosaur nuggets.
And they're not called nuggets. They're called nuggies.
Oh,
okay?
Excuse me. Chicken nuggies and fries.
Yeah, you know
I'm
what
telling
I mean?
you right now.
Come on.
That's how you know you're a dad. If you have dinosaur nuggies, oh my God.
Yeah, bro, come on.
Although I will say, if my wife would let me get that and I want to say just like a bag of breaded chicken patty sandwiches at Costco.
Dude.
My God.
You got to get some buns too.
I got buns, yo. San Diego State says treetop applesauce for Jake in a squeeze bag.
That's right. Big applesauce guy.
Oh my God. Mike Maple still love the hamburger helper lasagna. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
The worst part about hamburger helper is you burn your mouth on it.
Yeah, it's so
good.
Remember,
like you
it's
would
so
get,
good.
You would make it another thing that pissed my mom off. I would make the lasagna hamburger helper or the cheddar mac hamburger helper where you would get like the beef, or maybe it was a beef mac hamburger helper, and I wouldn't clean the pan. I would not clean again, what did I find on my bed? This memory is unbelievable. I remember that she put a hamburger helper pan under my pillow because I didn't clean the pan.
Damn.
Didn't tell me. Didn't like chastise me, just put it under my pillow. So I put it under her pillow. She woke me up. She did not find that funny. I was such a dick as a kid. Oh my, I was a terrible son.
Yeah.
I freely admit that.
Yeah.
Terrible son. Arlington Bear says had dino nuggies and fries for dinner 2 days ago.
Thank you. You see what I mean? I'm not the only one here. Thank you.
That's amazing. Brother says Nintendo consoles is a younger age that I remember when I was 5 years old. Just remember who's good at this duck hunt. Boom, baby. That's right. Jake Gordon says my son loves dino nuggies, Monty. It's all he'll eat.
That's right.
Hey, man, that's a good kid. You're making men right there. Jeff Brown says, Jake, cinnamon applesauce or regular?
Cinnamon apple all day. Have to, bro.
Have to.
Cinnamon
How many
apple.
of us spent our adolescence destroying our teeth by drinking like acidic apple juice?
Yeah.
My mom only used to feed me apple juice.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Man, isn't it amazing that food, like we all have food memories. What's your best food memory? Do you have a food? Apparently the show's over. Do you have a food memory?
Best food memory. The holidays. We always went crazy on the holidays. Like
you'll think this is weird, but this is me being a dad and loving my son.
Right.
Do you remember like after at Los Lomas, like we would go to like Taco Bell, or after your pitching lessons, we'd go to like Hot Off the Grill?
My senior year in high school, we would after practice, we would go to Taco Bell, then we would go home and watch Maury and laugh our ass off.
What more can I say? What more can I say?
And the Diet Mountain Dew regiment was on point.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? The Monty Show presented by the Advocates. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.